Welcome, everybody, to the Soul of the Unexplained. I am your host, Jim Kelgar. That's right, Jim with two M's, one, two. Yeah, baby, count them. That is moi. Thank you so much for joining us today. And today we've got ourselves literally, I'm not even going to say an all star cast. We have a rock star cast of folks here joining us today to have a discussion about things that go bump and thump in the nights, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But before that, let's say hello to my very dear friend, my co-host and co-creator of the Soul of the Unexplained, my brother from another mother, Mister Rogelio Stokes. Roger, how the heck are you doing, buddy?
Hey, well, I am doing okay. Good considering the circumstances that I've been. Normally, I am my nice, jovial, welcome self, and so everything's great. But as you guys have known over this past year, I have had some complications with my heart and my overall health, and so it has taken a toll and kind of come to a head at this point. So I just wanted to say welcome to our podcast for the Soul of the Unexplained. Super excited to be here tonight, and grateful that I am still amongst the land of the living. Although I think being a ghost would be a lot of fun, so I'll have to think about that. But uh,
Well, hold
but yeah,
hold
as as
hold
as you
hold
guys
that thought.
know, yeah, I'll give it a thought. I mean, nothing in this life is guaranteed, but except becoming a ghost, that I know. Don't
Right,
I won't tell you how I know. I just do. So,
right
but
on.
no, on a serious note, as you guys know, just with the health problems that I've had with my heart, and I just wanted to give everybody a quick update and say thank you to all of our subscribers and listeners of the podcast, and for everyone out there that has been so generous in your donations. As you know, because of my health issues, I am not employed, and my wife is currently looking for a job. And as an update, I actually have been able to talk to a surgeon who looked at my imaging and kind of took in the whole picture. And so, good news is that I have open heart surgery scheduled for this upcoming September 8th. Yes, the Monday after Phenomicon. So
Woo!
I
That's awesome
am
news, brother. That's good
super, super
news.
excited about that. It'll be my second open heart surgery. So just know that if you never ever have to have heart surgery, I would highly recommend not having it because it sucks. But beyond that, with the life-saving measures that are there, this will be great. They found multiple problems, and they are going to be fixing those. So yeah, I my heart's not in very good shape right now. It is leaking blood from multiple valves in there, and they got to go in and clean that up and put some new equipment there. So I'm becoming even more bionic and robotic than yeah, I have been in the first place. So some good news there. So again, thanks everyone for your generosity and your ongoing support. And if you can, um, Jim provided an update on the Soul of the Unexplained. I do have a GoFundMe page. You should be able to go and take a look at that. You can find the link here. We'll post it in our comments if you're feeling generous and kind to support. Financially, that would be very helpful. This is going to be a very expensive surgery, even with the insurance that I have and throughout the recovery. But if you can just send whether prayers, positive thoughts, or just a hello, will make my day and go a very long way through this difficult process. And definitely looking forward to feeling better. And I'm super excited again tonight for this podcast and so excited to welcome Caleb Hanks. Caleb, thank you for joining.
Uh,
Dude, I am so incredibly happy to be here. It's been a minute since I was on the podcast, but Roger, I don't believe that you and I have ever been on an episode together, and this makes me very happy. Number one, to hear that you got this thing scheduled, things are looking optimistic. Being bionic ain't gonna be all that bad because it's all coming for us. We're all gonna be robots in the future. So you're just getting a head start, dog. But
Yep.
seriously so excited for that to be done and over with soon, and you can be on your way to mending up. But yeah, thank you guys all for being cool enough to let me be on the pod, and I could not be more excited to hang with you buds tonight.
Right on, Caleb. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And folks, once again, we're going to give you a heads up. Uh, the language on this podcast is going to be decidedly not PG, not G, not even PG-13. We will probably dabble into Martin Scorsese hard R uh, territory with the language. So consider yourselves forewarned, folks. Hide the children and those with sensitive ears, because no guarantees how things are going to unfold here. But before we dive too far down any of the rabbit holes, we also have to welcome our other member of the podcast, my favorite Denver Broncos fan.
Devo Broncos fan.
Right. Mr. John Nyberger. Right. John, how are you, buddy?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. Speaking of the Broncos, they haven't looked that great in preseason, so I'm kind of where I'm not overly worried, but I'm a little worried.
My Raiders have lost all the games, so that's just the Raiders being the Raiders. So, yeah. Right on. Well, folks, I thought that what we would do today is, as you know, normally when we get together, while the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch is currently running new episodes, we usually would do a recap and a review, offer up our opinions and our insights on what we thought of the most recent episode of the docuseries, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. And so we're going to hold off on that today. And instead, what Roger and John and I thought that we would do, and one of the big reasons why we wanted to have Caleb join us, is the fact that we're going to talk about some music today. And not just music, but also the band Hitchhiker, because right now we currently have literally half of the Hitchhiker band on this podcast, which is kind of awesome when you stop to think about it. But before we start talking about music and what we're going to be doing at Phenomicon, I wanted to give a shout out, and our good friend Mr. Hanks here, he actually has his own podcast, and I have to say, folks, it is amazing. And he calls this podcast Ghosts in the Mountains, and he tackles all kinds of really cool subjects, from, as you would imagine with the title, ghosts and hauntings. But he's also done some on Bigfoot recently. He had his brother Micah on the podcast not too long ago, and they had a great episode talking about Bigfoot. And they've also talked about orbs and just all kinds of really cool things. And so, Caleb, I wanted to kind of start off there. So tell us a little bit about Ghosts in the Mountains and who you're working with on that podcast, and kind of what inspired you to get started on that.
Money. It's all for money. No, I'm just kidding. No, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to talk a little bit about it in front of your gracious audience. Yeah, Ghosts in the Mountains is all based around, so my brother Micah Hanks, guitar player and Hitchhiker, podcaster, researcher, all-around badass. He and I grew up in Asheville, North Carolina. A lot of people think that Asheville, North Carolina, and the surrounding areas of Western North Carolina, being in the Appalachian Mountains, which is one of the oldest mountain ranges on the planet, there's just a lot of history there and a lot of really weird stuff that's gone on. And ever since we were kids, I mean, there is just a plethora of just weird ghost stuff. There's Bigfoot sightings around here, and it's kind of, people talk about like there's crystal energy and it's a vortex and all this stuff. So, when I was about 16, I became part of a ghost hunting group called the Lemur Team, which was an acronym for the League of Energy Materialization and Unexplained Phenomena Research with a silent P, because I guess, well, all the other acronyms were taken. And so, I mean, but it was like pretty like balls to the wall, legitimate research. I mean, we were out there with like tri-field natural EM meters. By the way, I found one on eBay, thanks to Austin. But all you have to do is talk shit about it to the universe and be like, yeah, you can't buy these things. And then literally 3 clicks and it's on eBay. I'm like, and sold. But yeah, I mean, we were out there doing legitimate field like ghost investigations all over the place. We filmed with the Travel Channel back in the day. We were on a program called Guts and Bolts where we went to the Capitol building in Raleigh, and I actually saw something kind of strange. I've never seen what I would consider being like a full-bodied apparition, but I saw this blob down in the Senate chamber out of the corner of my eye. Then on the show, what I didn't know is when it aired, they had caught security camera footage of this blob right there at the podium in the Senate chamber where I saw this thing. Had no clue that there was any previous happenings in that particular room. They send this thing to a German photography specialist, and he's like, "I have no clue what this is." So it was kind of, reaffirming to me that it was like, oh, wow. I mean, obviously I was interested in this stuff, but here's this pretty prominent situation that just ends up being on a damn TV show. So that was kind of wild. But over the years, I kind of fell out of the actual like field investigation stuff and was out of the paranormal community stuff for the longest time. I was on my brother's podcast at the time, the Grayling Report, for a while back in 2013. And then after that, I was kind of doing band stuff and traveling and being on the road. But my buddy Austin Burgess, who is the co-host of Ghosts in the Mountains with me and just an incredible researcher, I met this kid when he's like some skinny little punk rocker, and his band was opening up for my punk band, and we just knew each other over the years. And he was always interested in like aliens, ghosts, you name it. He ends up, we're like years down the road, just a couple of years back, he ends up moving like walking distance to my house and is like in my neighborhood. He ends up emailing my brother and being like, "Hey, I just want to catch up, talk about some UFO stuff." We find out he's like our neighbor. So then he and I just start hanging out all the time. And Micah keeps saying, "You guys need to start some sort of paranormal podcast. It'd be really, really cool." And we're like, I mean, we could. But then we never really did. And then finally one day we decide, yeah, you know what? Let's give this thing a shot. But we've essentially been covering most of the stuff in Western North Carolina. We're not opposed at all to branching out and getting into other stuff, tackling some of the bigger stories. But one of the things that's been kind of rad about what we're doing is we are taking stories that, like, we did this one episode, I think it's episode number 6, and I call it Faces of Evil. But it is all of this, the creepiest ghost stories that I was told firsthand by people. Some that I'm like, seriously, just creep me out immensely. And I do it on the podcast in somewhat of a dramatic fashion and with some sound effects and things like that because I wanted to encapsulate how these stories like made me feel when I heard them, and some of them are just like really bizarre. There's one that involves either just a completely insane person or an actual witch. But yeah, I mean, Western North Carolina, the more Austin and I dive into the things around here, we are continually blown away by just the weirdness, the synchronicities, the history involved. It's overall just been a really fun experience. And I come from a songwriting and audio production background, so I've been able to incorporate a decent amount of that into the podcast. Austin and I both work full-time jobs, so we're not able to put as much time and energy into it as we would want to. But for what it is so far, in our first year of podcasting, I think it's going okay so far, and I'm just enjoying the heck out of it. So yeah, if anybody wants to check it out, you just go to ghostsinthemountains.com, and yeah, we're on episode 32, I think. So yeah,
something like that. And folks, we're going to also put the link to the YouTube channel that Caleb and Austin have for Ghosts in the Mountains as well. And I strongly encourage all of our subscribers and viewers to subscribe to this amazing podcast. Folks, the production value is so good on this, and Caleb's not telling stories out of school here because he's quite the ace when it comes to audio production, and it's so enjoyable. It's such a great listening experience. The episodes that I've listened to that you and Austin have done, and it's great to see that you guys have covered not just Bigfoot, but also I think you guys did an episode not too long ago with the Bell Witch, if I'm not mistaken. And
love that story.
And John, you're gonna have to. I for the life of me, I cannot remember that paranormal show that you recommended to me that was on Amazon Prime that took place in Kentucky, and Micah was actually on it.
Hellier.
Hellier, yes. So, and I think you had, what is his name, Dr. Alan Greenfield or
Oh
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, Dr. Greenfield, he's a big part of the Hellier series. No spoilers. Sorry guys if you haven't seen it, but show's like 7 years old at this point, so that's your fault. But yeah, Dr. Greenfield's been on the show 2 times at this point, and dude, he is one of the most fun people to talk to ever. Like Dr. Greenfield, I mean, he's one of these guys who is kind of one of these early on OG rogue UFO investigators back in the day, and the stories he has to tell about hanging out with people like Jim Mosley. I mean, it is a wild ride no matter what. Greenfield is delightfully eccentric, but he's got some comedic chops, and that's kind of my job in the podcast is Austin does all the research. I tell all the fart jokes. But Greenfield, I'm trying. He's just so on it when he's like in a flow of where he's going. And so I've been trying to crack him up. I got him pretty good with a Doctor Who joke the last time he was on. I don't remember if that ended up being in the public version of the podcast or not. But yeah, man, Dr. Greenfield's super cool. Just recently we had a really interesting guest on this artist that moved here to Brevard, North Carolina, which is like, 25 minutes outside of Asheville. But Marcia K. Moore, and dude, she does the coolest stuff. So she's had some somewhat what I would call almost metaphysical experiences with what she would call forest people or Sasquatch like metaphysical entities.
Hmm.
And she is just this incredible artist. She takes recycled bike tires and makes Sasquatch art out of them, like statues.
Oh wow.
And she does just like different animals and stuff. But we went down to her studio and just interviewed her and just had such a really just super cool conversation with her because when you think about like Sasquatch, you're thinking like boots on the ground, get out there in the woods with the camera and listen for the stick knocking and just hope that this big hairy bipedal hominin walks into your field of view. Her whole perspective was really interesting. She's like, if you go out there hunting, then expect resistance, expect to potentially be hunted back.
Hunted back, yes.
But if you go out there into the wilderness with like, hey, I'm just here experiencing the universe. I want to know more about you. I hope that we could open up a dialogue. I like this so much, and I was attributing her approach to like, some people in paranormal investigation have a somewhat similar mindset. It's like these are potentially the spirits of deceased people. So would it not make sense to start conversations with these people and just try to open up a dialogue? That's why I've always thought that the show name Ghost Hunters was so weird. It's like, is it like people hunting? That doesn't sound all that great. So anyway, yeah, it's just been a really incredible time, and I cannot talk enough about Austin Burgess, our co-host. He is just a crack shot researcher, man. I mean, I always knew he was a smart kid, but he really came guns a-blazing into this podcast, and he has uncovered things about stuff that I thought I knew about to the point to where I've literally had my mind, well, not literally, because then I would be dead, but I've had my mind blown quite a few times. But yeah, man, great dude, and so stoked to be on a podcast with him.
Well, and it's what I really enjoy is there's a great chemistry between the two of you when you're talking about whatever the subject happens to be, and you guys pair very well. And again, I just cannot say enough good things about the production value because being an audio guy myself, that's one of the things that I always hone in on, and it's such a nicer experience than the cheap ass no frills podcast is what Roger and I call that's our nickname for the Soul of the Unexplained, the cheap ass no frills podcast. But let me ask you this: of all of the episodes that you've done lately, what are some of the ones that really that you've really enjoyed learning about, and that maybe really kind of really gets you passionate about talking about this stuff? Is there one or two cases or one or two subjects that really kind of gets you going?
Well, there's a bunch. One that sticks out to me recently was there is a little place not too far from where I am at right now called Fletcher, North Carolina. Very unassuming little place. You might not even know that you're like in a different township if you were driving between Asheville and Hendersonville, our kind of sister city down the road.
Mhm.
And when I was around, 15, 16, there was always this urban legend around about this phantom horse that would be seen running through this field. And it was associated with this story of this family who the father of this family was on his deathbed, essentially. And they just see this, essentially what they attributed being a ghost rider, like riding through their field. Didn't know this person. The story over time kind of got twisted and into being like just a horse, but their account, if you look back historically, it was a rider, it was a guy. Had never seen this person before. Sure, it could have just been a guy on a horse. But then in Fletcher, there's a church called Cavalry Church, um, and there's all these kind of weird conflicting stories about ghost riders, and I'm like, okay, I mean, sure, why not? But the thing that was weird for us was this episode about we're looking into this fabled ghost rider of this church, and the whole thing just kind of starts getting weirder and weirder for us because one of the biggest places in town is this place called the Grove Park Inn. It's famous for this ghost called the Pink Lady. And one of the guys that helped build the Grove Park Inn was this guy named Fred Seeley. Well, Fred Seeley took all of this spare like rocks and stone work and materials essentially while they were building the Grove Park Inn and just clandestinely built himself a friggin' castle on the side of the mountain here in town. Like the other guy, E.W. Grove, just wasn't going to notice he was building a castle. So Seeley is this kind of interesting elite figure that has shown up in town over everything. I mean, all of the elite parties, all the elite people, he's hanging out with presidents. I'm fairly certain that this is true, that Thomas Edison himself, if not him and a crew, like did the wiring in Seeley's castle up above town.
Oh,
The other
wow.
thing that ends up with Seeley's castle that's weird is after Seeley's dead and gone, that castle ends up being this place with this air of there's satanic activity and there's satanic, eyes wide shut style parties going on in that castle. And that's something that in the 90s was super big here in town. But as we're doing research for this Fletcher Ghost Riders episode, and there's just some really kind of interesting lore about some Civil War soldiers that see this ghost, this like woman on this horse just hauling ass, and they fire like, or they were, I don't think they were firing at her, but essentially she comes running through their base camp and they follow her to try to see who she is or what the heck was going on because she's just like hauling the mail. The northern troops literally come out of the woods as they're watching this woman and just mow them down back in the day. And so this kind of leads to at this cavalry church in Fletcher, there's just kind of this weird history of just like death and strangeness and it being kind of like a base camp essentially for soldiers in the Civil War.
Mhm.
We're over there looking around at the or Austin's over there looking at the cemetery, and boom, Fred Seeley's grave with his whole family over there. We never knew where he was buried, and we're like, okay, that's kind of crazy. Here's just this dude who has been like sewn through almost every other podcast we would do. Here's Fred Seeley, and then dude just shows up. And then there was this other this is kind of a deep cut, but there was this punk rocker named Root Boy Slim, and he was like this dude that was really big in the Washington punk rock scene, and not super big, but he was like known enough. And there's a lot of people in the underground punk scene that just like love this dude. He is also just buried over there in the cemetery. And apparently some people knew about him because we went over there and there was like some PBR cans on his grave and all that stuff. But we took him a Guinness, and since he was Root Boy Slim, my wife brought him a sweet potato, and we left that on his grave for him as a little offering. But yeah, I know I'm kind of rambling about this stuff, but it was just kind of this weird synchronistic thing to where even just this weird little area of Fletcher just has all of this history teeming with it. And I think that's one thing about the podcast. It ends up being so much more history and folklore. Like our podcast is really not all about like, here's a ghost story and it's really scary and blah, blah, blah. Most of the time, our podcast ends up being like a historical deep dive, a deep dive into the folklore and some of the associated archetypal, just weird happenings and things surrounding that. But we also do talk very much about, paranormal occurrences, and at least we report this is what these people said they saw. This is kind of our take on it, but here's the history behind it, pointing towards what may or may not lead to this, story actually being credible. So,
Right. Well, it's again, the way you guys present it is just fantastic. I love listening to every episode. And before I know it, once I start listening, it's like the 90 minutes or so that you guys record these things just flies by like that. It's just, I love how you guys incorporate all the history and you really do your research. I mean, just like Micah, you know your subject matter well and you know how to present it, and more than anything, you make it engaging to listen to, which is seriously half the battle. I mean, you could be talking about any subject, and as long as you've got a really good, engaging, way of bringing the information out, which you have, like it's like you just have so much of it, and it's just been such a pleasure to listen to what you and Austin have been doing for these last 7 or 8 months or so that I've been listening to the stuff that you've been doing, because I started on episode 1, which I think was the Pink Lady
yeah.
episode, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it is my favorite podcast to listen to when I'm in the car. Just need to put some audio on, and it's really fascinating and just a great job that the both of you do there. So I don't know if
Thanks.
you knew this, Caleb, but Roger is kind of like a paranormal activity magnet. I mean, he has had stuff happen to him all throughout his life. And me, of course, I never really had anything happen to me until we started going down this rabbit hole of Skinwalker Ranch and doing the Soul of the Unexplained podcast. And Roger and I, for the first time ever last year at Phenomicon, had our very first, paranormal experience that happened to us while we were both there in the hotel room at the same time, which, that was the moment where I crossed that threshold from being just a believer to being somebody that actually experienced this thing and saw it. And it's like, so I've always had the viewpoint that, you know, I think that absolutely there is life after death. And that's not just because of my religious upbringing or my spiritual belief. It just makes sense to me. I think that what we call our consciousness, our spirit, our energy, our life force, our essence, whatever term you decide to ascribe to it, I think it's eternal. I think that part of us is eternal. And even though we may suffer a physical death, I believe that that part of us, that spirit, that consciousness, that intelligence lives on. And I think it lives on in a different dimension, but it's still very much alive to the extent that I've said many times on this podcast that I believe that someday we may find out that consciousness is the most common form of intelligence throughout the universe because the nature of it is eternal. And I believe that when people pass away, um, I believe that they do live on. Their soul, their spirit, their consciousness lives on. And so I've always found these stories of people that experience things. I don't find it spooky. Sometimes I do. Sometimes there are genuinely, spooky stories. The Bell Witch is a great example. I love that story. And Roger, I know that you mentioned that you were familiar with the Bell Witch story, but yeah, I love the fact that you and Austin are so passionate about it, and that comes out so clearly in the way that you present everything on the podcast. And I just, from one podcaster to another, I just want to tip my hat to you because you guys are just you're nailing it in every aspect. And The music, oh my gosh. Yeah, we were talking about it before we started recording tonight. The the theme music that you composed, uh, you know that I'm a sucker for synthwave and anything that has a synthesizer in it. And I got to tell you, you're world class. Your skill and your talent is just, I just cannot say enough kind and good things about literally aspect about Ghost in the Mountains. So
Oh man,
tell
I appreciate it.
you bet. So Roger, let's I'll have you jump in here a little bit, and I know you. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to Caleb's podcast, but you're kind of like the paranormal expert of the Soul of the Unexplained. What what are some of the things that draw you to this whole aspect of ghosts and spirits and things like that?
Yeah, yeah. So, I've always been fascinated with, I would just say, paranormal ever since I was a kid, and that involves just, I think, primarily it stems from my curiosity about what we can't explain with science. And I mean, as a kid, and I think it goes back to Caleb and Austin and Ghosts in the Mountains, just telling these stories, right, that have been passed down generation from generation. Um, everyone has a little different experience as they grow up and as adults, right? I think naturally society, we are storytellers. That's how we pass down our history to our about our families, to our kids. Um, and I think collectively, one, I've never been to the Appalachians, but it is on my bucket list. I would love to get out there, and I definitely want to hear more stories. And so, um, I will have a lot of time coming up to listen um, to some of these stories because I think that there's some discussions. I think Caleb, I definitely want to share some stories with you and Austin that I've had. But it really comes down to the fact that why do these things happen? Um, what forces are at play that we just don't understand? And, for the skeptics out there, that's great. Continue to be skeptical. From my experience, I know that these things not only can happen, they have happened, they've happened to me, and I can't explain it. And it really, I think, Jim, that you said something that kind of stuck with me, and that's that a lot of these stories and things like that, you don't necessarily have to be scared. It's not that we're out here to tell you and weave this tale to drive fear into you and to be like, oh my gosh, we're going to keep you up all night. But I think it's really to share an experience. A lot of times, um, as Caleb was talking about, as you do this research on an area or a tale, some folklore, some myth behind the things, you find a lot of truth out of that. And I think a lot of that comes together and you learn more about a place and you understand how things have happened and why a lot of this stuff can actually make sense and and you can experience some of that. I think that there's a lot of different things. I mean, I will share just one of the most things that are fascinating to me and to this day that I still haven't been able to explain was that when I was a kid about 8 or 9, and I vividly remember that I there was an apparition of a woman floating at the end of my bed, and she um, didn't speak, but used hand gestures, and she was like using her fingers. She's like, "Follow me." And she just glided out my door, down the hallway, and I followed her, right? I wasn't scared, but I couldn't explain who this person was. I don't know anything about her or what she was doing there, other than that I felt compelled to follow her. She, and literally, she's gliding down the hall, um, stops right in front of where we have in the house that I was growing up, our basement cellar type of a thing. She turns around one more time, looks at me, and she's like, follows me, and then goes right through the door. So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta open the door. So I open the door, go in. As soon as I turn on the light, she's gone, but immediately it's almost like there's a fire in there. It's feels like I remember feeling the heat, and the smoke just starts billowing out, right? So at this point, now I'm scared. I run upstairs, grab my dad. My dad comes down. He looks around. Um, he acknowledges that there's smoke down there, right? He goes in, we look through, the smoke starts to clear, and by the time we've gone through the cellar, it pretty much has moved out, and there's nothing there. So we checked out the entire house, no fires, nothing. I can't explain it. My dad writes it off as like, you were probably just having a dream. But I'm like, well, Dad, I don't think it was a dream. There's actually smoke. You saw it. But to this day, I can't explain that. I did looked in the history of the home that I was in. It was built back, I think, in the 70s, early 70s. Couldn't find anything about the land or property there. I don't know if there was a fire there before. Is this somebody reaching across time? What does that have to do? What did this entity, this woman want to tell me? I don't know to this day. It's still one of those things. Like, and why did she appear to me, and why did that experience happen? I don't know, but I'm still curious about it. I'm still curious as to who she was. Where did she come from? And again, why do these things happen to me? And again, most of the stuff that happens, I've had, like you said, Jim, some creepy things happen, but um, you know, it just continues, even if it's scary for me, it continues to drive that curiosity to understand what we collectively, scientifically don't understand. And I know I get it. There's a lot of people out there who will be like, whatever, I don't believe that. And that's okay until you have it happen to you. Um, you just don't understand. But again, that's why like it's super awesome to have Caleb here talking about his podcast, Ghosts in the Mountains, because you've got so much history there on the East Coast and so many things. And I'm just drawn to these stories to understand, to listen, and really try to make sense of the world that I live in. And so I've kind of gone on a little bit, but that's what really draws me into the paranormal and the ghosts and the different stories and just the strange occurrences, whether it's cryptids, paranormal, UAPs, UFOs, all of that, the whole spectrum. I really, really want to get more into and continue to study. So it's fascinating for me.
Just out of curiosity, did that apparition or that woman, that entity, did she ever come back? Did you ever see her or sense her again?
No, no, she
No.
has never come back.
So just a one and done kind of thing. Because it's
Yes.
it's interesting because with me, I have something similar with my experience with Hat Man, the shadow being that a lot of people refer to as Hat Man. Um, and my first Hat Man experience happened when I was very young, when I was about 3 or 4 years old. And so so yeah, it's you said it perfectly, Roger. Somebody that has never seen or experienced it, you don't really grasp exactly what we're talking about until it's happened to you. And I firmly believe if you give yourself enough time, John, I'm looking at you,
I was gonna say
because
I've heard this.
yeah,
I've heard that's true,
it's
but
something's gonna happen to you sooner or later.
don't
I just
know it from
guarantee it.
experience.
But
John's not going to have anything happen to him, then he legit gets abducted.
Right. Right. It's gonna be something that crazy.
Yeah, it's going to wait till the end of your life, and you're going to be like an old man, and they're like, "We've come for you, John."
Yep, I'll be like the fire in the sky dude underneath the table with the syrup going off the edge and landing on me and freaking out.
I've had dinner with Travis.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Oh
that's
yeah,
yeah,
awesome. Travis Walton.
Roger and I got to meet Travis Walton the very
nice,
first year of Phenomenon, and it's
very nice
interesting.
guy.
He is
He
so
is.
cool. I mean, I wasn't sure what to make of his story until I met him in person. And I got to tell you, folks, when Travis Walton is standing just a few feet away from you and you make eye contact with him, you know that he is telling you the truth as he believes it happened to him. And I 100% believe that he's telling the story and the account that he truly believes happened. Now, did it? Obviously, I can't prove it, but if there's anybody as far as abduction goes that I'm willing to go out on a limb and say, yeah, I think there's something there, then Travis Walton is the guy because yeah, what a cool, humble, down to earth, just salt of the earth kind of guy. He's one of my favorite people that I've met so far is Travis Walton.
Not to
And
mention there were other people there that saw this and corroborated the incident.
right?
I mean, it wasn't just him
Oh yeah.
testifying
Yeah.
about this. There were other people that all said they saw the same thing and their stories all matched.
And every single one of them passed multiple lie detector tests.
Yup.
So
Yeah.
so
I don't know
yeah.
what to think about that because you hear his story, it sounds really believable from him, and then you see some people debunk it, and you're like, okay, that actually is very reasonably presented. And then you see someone debunk the debunk, you're like, okay, that actually also makes a lot of sense, you
Yeah.
know? So I end up in this limbo where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be reasonable, and I just don't know where to come down on it. But man, it's a fascinating story.
Dude, I
I
wanted to throw out real quick before we jumped off the ghost situation. So, like, neither Austin or I really consider ourselves like we believe that these are spirits. You
Mhm.
know, we don't know what this is. We don't claim to know because I mean, there's just to us there is no complete tangible true evidence that is saying this more than likely correlates with this. But that being said, it is the curiosity. It is the mystery. The thing about it is it's like people that don't typically seem to be into UFOs are people that have, for the most part, really never looked at the evidence. If you've never really looked at the evidence or the accounts of people talking about experiencing something like an apparition, if you haven't really thought about this much beyond the typical campfire story, then you're probably just going to say, oh, yeah, these are just hallucinations that people are having. But if you look at the just accounts of crazy paranormal things that have happened on deathbeds, in hospitals, the countless numbers, I mean, there's a reason that this is an archetype. Like I
Mhm.
tend to not believe that it is just because this happens to be this mass hallucination because people have these endorphins pumping into their brains. Now that certainly could be a part of it, but I think that the
Right.
phenomenon is way too widespread for it to be that. And that being said, it's the mystery that intrigues both Austin and I, and the mountain of evidence and reports of paranormal activity. That's why we want to look into this stuff. There's obviously something happening.
Right.
If it is something that is happening within the human psyche, then rock and roll. I think that's just as interesting as this idea of something like stone tape theory, where it's like the earth as itself is recording electrical phenomenon and happening and playing it back like we used to like use wires to record
Mhm.
music back in the day. So
Yep.
there's an interdimensional shift. Who
Mhm.
knows? There's any
Right.
number of this stuff, but I just want to be clear on my stance with that because again, I don't think I'm pompous enough to think I know what any of these things that are beyond us are. However, I think that it's fun and interesting and exciting and still adds a little bit of whimsy to the world to be able to be like, isn't it cool that we haven't figured it out? Because it
Yeah.
would be boring as shit if we did already.
We
Yeah.
wouldn't be here talking about this. That could be
What?
like, oh, we
We'd
just
be
learned
like,
that in history that we're
yeah,
done.
we'd be like, yeah, so the new Marvel movie, huh?
Well, it's like again, and I would actually say that I'm the same way that you are in your approach to it. I don't pretend to know what these things are that people are seeing or experiencing, because they could fall into any one of a number of buckets. It could be, it could be the disembodied spirits. It could be interdimensional entities, and part of the problem with that is we haven't really defined what interdimensional means. I mean, modern science and physics has not they've posited the theories that yes, it is likely that other dimensions exist because of A, B, C, and D, but there's nothing that has conclusively put forth a hypothesis that said, okay, this is how we determine whether or not some of these experiences, disturbances, whatever you want to call them, that they are of a quote unquote interdimensional nature, because we don't know how to quantify that, right?
Like,
And then there's the people that think that everything is all demons and Satan. And then there's people that just automatically want to glom onto the ET hypothesis, right? The aliens. And what it comes down to is exactly what you said, Caleb. It's multifaceted, because and again, just look at. I'll use the example of what happened to me and Roger at Phenomicon last year. Now, the very nature of these kind of phenomena, as you know, Caleb, are very uh, insular in the sense that they happen in isolated events where only one person experiences them, right? Occasionally, you have the rare circumstance where there is multiple eyewitnesses, multiple experiencers. And that's why what Roger and I experienced at Phenomicon last year in our hotel room, still to this day, is the most unsettling thing. Not unsettling because I think it was satanic or demonic or anything like that. There's no question in my mind, and I think Roger probably feels the same way. I think it was definitely of a malicious and malevolent nature, what we encountered, but we saw it. Roger and I both saw it, and we saw the same thing. We felt the same thing. And that's the first time that I've ever had something like that happen where I had somebody else that was there with me, because I had my shadow being, my hat man experiences, and I was the only one around that saw that happen. So every time I tell that story, it's like, well, I can't provide you any proof except to say that I know for a fact that happened to me because I was wide awake and because of this, and this. But what happened to me and Roger last year happened to both of us while we were wide awake, and we both felt the same sense of intense fear and dread and foreboding. And then we saw this, this amorphous, uh, almost like a black cloud, black mist kind of type thing. And it was one of the darkest and blackest things that I've ever seen in my life. And it just as suddenly as it materialized, it dematerialized and just collapsed in on itself till it was gone. And let me tell you, when you have something like that happen, when you've got somebody there in the room with you, who you can look at their face. I mean, I remember looking at Roger's face, and Roger just had this look of, we didn't just see that. And I'm like, yeah, did you see what I just saw? And Roger's like, yeah. And you want to, I mean, still, it still makes the hair, stand on end when I talk about it. But it's like, you're right. These experiences, I think what we find out, and it's part of the reason why Roger and I started doing the podcast in the first place, is we want to normalize and mainstream this conversation, because the funniest thing is that whenever Roger and I do episodes and we talk about things like Hatman or the things that happen on Skinwalker Ranch and some of the other legends that we talked about, people will come up to me, they'll be like, they'll do the quick look around and like, I wouldn't say this to anybody else, but I got to tell you about something that happened to me one time, but I don't want you to think I'm crazy. And so I think that when these things happen, a lot of people, it happens, I think, more often than we realize, because people, just for whatever reason, maybe it's fear of being ridiculed, maybe it's because they're not sure themselves that they saw and felt what they thought they saw and felt. So, but I think it's something that makes me very curious. I just have this, like Eric Bard talks about, this insatiable curiosity to want to find out and learn more about it. And I love the experiences that you and Austin talk about. It's like it is like sitting around a campfire and listening to some of these stories, but it's not done in the way that, because and this kind of like to segue into when as we wrap up this bit about the paranormal. But for me, the thing that I don't like about all these paranormal TV shows is they sensationalize and dramatize everything. And it's like they're using these newfangled gadgets and it shows this. And I'm like, what exactly is the science that you're referring to that gives credence to what you're alleging as your proof that there's spirits in the room? And it's not that I don't believe that these things are not possible. On the contrary, I believe that, as I've said, I think that their spirits are around us all the time. Whether it's the our loved ones that have passed on that just come in and check in on us from time to time, or whatever the case may be. And I think there are places on Earth, Skinwalker Ranch, I think happens to be one of them, where I think that if you think of in terms of what separates our dimension, our reality from whatever dimension, the spirit world or the consciousness, whatever, where they reside, I think sometimes the veil between those two dimensions bleeds into the other, or at the very least becomes very thin to where some of these things happen. But again, it all depends on, for me, how it's presented to me. And so many of the shows that are on Discovery and some of these other channels that are, they're more about entertainment than actual truly trying to investigate using solid science and the scientific method. Um, and there's been, of course, I mean, there's such a long history of fraudsters and hoaxers that are out there that are just simply trying to take advantage of people.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that's the lowest of the low. Like when you are taking advantage of somebody because they're so emotionally invested and attached to something, and you're just kind of preying on that aspect. I mean, that that's the other thing that kind of turns me off about it. But the way that you guys do it, if Roger and I were to devote a podcast to just covering that, we would we would use the way that you guys are doing it as the way to do it, because I think the way that you and Austin do it is absolutely brilliant. And again, anytime I get the notification on YouTube that there's a new upload to Ghost in the Mountains, I always, before I go to bed and every time I lay down, like tonight, the most recent one you guys have put out with the what is it, tire squatch or
Oh yeah,
something or
the
something like
tire.
that. And so I love the way that you guys do it, and I think you guys are really onto something. You're onto a formula that I think works well, and I think it's only going to get better, and you're only going to get a bigger audience. And certainly, if there's anything that Roger and I can do from our humble small footprint on the internet with the Soul of the Unexplained to help you guys, we're happy to do so, because we already think the world of you, and it sounds like Austin's cut from the same cloth, and so we're big believers in what you're doing with Ghost in the Mountains, and thank you for the effort and the work that you put into that.
Oh, I appreciate it. There actually is one thing you can do.
Does it involve cocaine?
Only a small mountain and some Kraft macaroni and cheese. But that being said,
Okay.
you and Roger got to come on an episode and talk about what you saw out there, man.
Oh,
Because
hell yeah. We would
Absolutely.
love to. We'd love to.
I've been talking about this for a minute. I think it's a very, very interesting story. My buddy Justin Biltonen is actually going to be recording with me on Monday night. Breezing through town because he's a touring musician. He's all over the place. Unfortunately, their lead singer Brad right now has stage 4 lung cancer. It is not a good situation, but he does seem to have some good doctors, and I think he's going to be okay. But when Justin isn't playing with Three Doors, he's touring all over the place, just doing his own kind of country music. He's going to
Mhm.
be in town. He has witnessed, it's very strange you talk about you experience this almost shadow entity in a hotel, because he experienced almost the same thing. I'm not exactly sure how close to Utah it was, but I do believe it was somewhere out that way. Um, but we just finished up an episode leading up to Phenomicon about the Skinwalker Ranch and the phenomenon that's been going on there.
Mhm.
That'll be out in a couple of weeks. I think that's going to hit like right around when we're out there. But when we were diving into the subject, for somebody that's actually been to Skinwalker Ranch, I knew muy pequeño, I think that's the right term, not a lot about it really. But the stories that Austin was, pulling up and talking about some of the deep history of the place and the rivalry between the tribes there in the Uinta Basin
Mhm.
and this curse, the big curse that went along with that. Now, I say a little bit on that episode about I've talked to some people and I've known some people that were really, really into just anything paranormal and willing to check some stuff out and fiddle F, I'll leave it there, around with things like voodoo.
Mhm.
And I've heard some stories about somebody that was messing around with voodoo just to see what would happen. And the results were so immediate and real and really bad, they never mess with it again. And so I kind of have this sense of like, back before the Industrial Revolution and human beings are a little bit more in tune with the universe. I feel like our inner GPS was better back then. We didn't need things like that. We trusted intuition and stars and things like that to get around. I think that maybe, the indigenous people that used to be here in this country were just more in tune with nature, in tune with the planet. And when they wanted to mess you up, they kind of cosmically understood how they could do that.
Right.
And I do question if, and again, this is all theoretical. I don't know if anything I'm saying right now is even remotely close to real. But I will say, just for the sake of conversation, in the event that this stuff is, number one, you have this potential lasting universal hex. Maybe they're tapping into something that could be explained by science. We just don't know what that is yet or how that works cosmically. And the other thing about it, too, is if you look at it from the concept of these are potential, there's no doubt about it that the land around Vernal was, you know, filled with indigenous people back in the day.
Mhm.
And we came and stole their country. And I think that there's probably still just some really, really intense emotion tied to that land. And I think that it can manifest potentially at will, or I hypothesize that some of that could be the case. And so what you guys experienced could have been just somebody being like, I'm still not excited about any y'all MFers being here.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because now I don't want to go into too much detail because there's some privacy issues involved that I don't want to compromise involving some other people. But um, I would say that and and Roger help me out here because I think that what you just said, Caleb, is spot on to why I think this entity, this shadow being appeared to Roger and I last year at Phenomicon. And I think it appeared to us specifically to find out what we were made of, if that makes any sense.
Sure, absolutely.
And now the folks that know me really well know that being a New Yorker, and I am a very proud New Yorker. I have a foul mouth on me. I have made big, huge, burly biker guys and guys in the military, you know, shake when I start unleashing my ugly side of Brooklyn, my foul tongue that I have from time to time. But that notwithstanding, I'm also a very deeply spiritual individual. I am an active practicing member of my particular faith, and I am a Christian, even though my words don't always reflect that. But I was able to. I think that had I not had the upbringing that I had, and more importantly, the faith that I was raised in, because what Roger and I did is we were so terrified that we're taught in my faith that when you're confronted with an evil spirit, let's say, you simply raise your arm to the square like that and cast it out in the name of Jesus Christ. And so I had to do that, and I had to do it 3 times to get rid of this thing. And Roger will tell you, I mean, it was now my Hatman experience that I had, which I'm still trying to figure out what it all meant. That was disturbing. But this thing that Roger and I encountered in Vernal last year was off the charts, so much more intense and so much more genuinely terrifying, more so than anything else I've ever encountered in my life. And I think, like you just said, Caleb, because of the history of the area and the connection, that Uinta Basin, anybody that's been there is going to know what we're talking about. It just has a different energy to it. The whole basin does, not just Skinwalker Ranch, but the entire Uinta Basin, which is like this massive section of Utah, several hundred square miles. And so I genuinely think, and Roger, again, feel free to chime in here, but I think that what this thing was doing was coming in to check us out and find out what we were made of, and seeing, were we going to cower and run away like scared little children, or did we have the faith to defiantly stand up to and say, no, you don't belong here, go back to where you came from, which is essentially what we did. Roger, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, there are energies out there in the Uinta Basin, out around, not only at Skinwalker Ranch, but around Skinwalker Ranch. And it's just that you can feel the different type of energy that once you get out there, for sure. But whatever this thing was, not only did it feel like a test, but this thing could physically manipulate objects in the room. And that's something that we can talk about more, Kayla, with you when we get deep into the thing.
Color me
and,
intrigued,
and
dude.
talk to you more about it. But it was insane.
Damn.
It was an insane experience.
Yeah,
Wow.
most definitely.
John, don't you want to have a paranormal experience, bud?
I know. They tell me all this, and I'm like, holy cow, I slept like a baby last night. I'm like, why doesn't this ever happen to me?
I certainly help. I called John Ron just for things to be confusing all the time. But Ron and I got significantly creeped out when we were at the last Hitchhiker practice, because I was keeping his ass up till like 5 a.m.
Yep.
Talking about some of the weird stuff that eventually ended up being on the podcast. But yeah, I think it was also due to the place that we were staying. That little house
Creepy,
was
man.
creepy AF.
Creepy. Well, the ends of it weren't creepy, but the middle part it was a weird house. But the middle part was creepy as hell.
Is this the Airbnb you guys stayed at?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was creepy. And then so he's showing me his podcast. He's like, hey, check this out and listen to this story. And then here's this thing about the Cherokee little people. He's telling me all about them. And next thing you know, we're like looking out the windows at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, like, is there anything out there?
We were waiting for the black-eyed children. We started talking about the black-eyed
Right.
children.
That's what it
yeah.
was. The
Yeah.
black-eyed children that
And we like, dude, we're
That's
open by
creepy,
the door
dude.
at one point, and he's like, "You want to look out that window, don't you?" And I was like, "I do, but I don't." But I did anyway because I'm insane.
And I ran into black-eyed children on the playground when I was in school. They were the kids that were sissies.
Right. Yeah,
Get
black-eyed
it?
children.
Black-eyed.
I've been a black-eyed child a couple of times. Yeah, well, just before we end this whole thing, episode 20, I believe, of Ghosts in the Mountains is about the Cherokee Little People, and there's a lot of folklore, but I tell a couple of firsthand experiences, not that I had, but people that told me firsthand experiences that are, and I'm serious, man, it's seriously some serious shit. And these are people that I don't know why they would be lying to me. I'll just put it that way. And we kind of get into it on the podcast. But there's a lot of folklore about that. But it's one of the subjects that I've looked at over the years, and I'm like, dude, this might not just be folklore. So anyway, please, thank you everybody. If you give the podcast a chance, um, just thank you. And if it's not your cup of tea, dude, there's a shit ton of other podcasts out there like the Soul of the Unexplained.
That's a great episode, though. The Cherokee Little People episode. Those stories you're talking about,
They're
pretty damn impressive
there's
and
some of the
kind of
wildest.
freaky.
Yeah, there's some of the wildest things I've ever heard, and that was one of those that was one of those topics that Austin and I, it was like every time we got together before we started the podcast, we always by the end of the night we're talking about that every single time because he went to college out there near Cherokee, and there was people that would just start talking to him about it. He's like, what is it, why are so many people talking about this? But anyway, yeah, it's just a wild situation, man.
Yeah. No, I'm for so many reasons, I am just excited to go back to Phenomicon, and we'll kind of segue from there. But folks, once again, Caleb's podcast is called Ghosts in the Mountains, so it's ghosts plural. And go to ghostsinthemountains.com to go to his official website. And I'm going to put the link for both his website and for his YouTube channel in the description of this video right here once we get this episode of the Soul of the Unexplained uploaded to the YouTube. But no, Caleb, gosh, what a great thing you and Austin have going, and we'd love to bring Austin on sometime as well.
Oh, yeah.
Tag team you motherfuckers on here, right?
Dude, you just let us
Jim
know,
just
man.
broke the seal.
That's right. That's
Now we say fuck every once in a while on our podcast, but I just go through and bleep it out, and it's fun in the moment. But then I'm like, oh God, I didn't hit the timestamp, and now I got to go through and find out where the fuck I said fuck.
Yes, indeed. So on that note, let's change gears here and let's talk about Phenomicon. So here we are, Caleb, Hitchhiker. We've talked, obviously the name of the band has connotations to the Hitchhiker effect, right? And so for those of you that don't know, Hitchhiker, the band, is the music project of Dr. Travis Taylor and Jay Stratton, and also features Caleb's brother Micah on lead guitar, one of the finest guitar players I have the pleasure of ever having shared the stage with, as well as Caleb, who is not just a kick-ass drummer, but is just one hell of a pure musician. Just literally any instrument, the guy will get you something out of it. And John, of course, the greatest bass player to ever grace the stage of Phenomicon, Mr. Nyberger. And you guys have this, I don't know, this other guy that plays keyboards and shakes the tambourine from time to time. But
our tambourine player easily steals the show.
No doubt.
No doubt. So let's talk about. We can talk a little bit about it. We don't have any examples that we can play for anybody, but one of the things to look forward to, folks, is that Hitchhiker. This will now be the second time that we've been performing at Phenomicon. The first time was last year, and we're going to be playing not one, but two brand new originals that you yourself, Caleb, had a hand in creating. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah. So when we started messing around with this whole idea of doing the Hitchhiker band, admittedly, I when the bro was telling me like, hey, there's these guys, you might not really know who they are or like what they do, but they're really awesome. They're in the paranormal world. They're total badasses in their fields, and we started playing some music together. Would you be opposed to the idea of flying out to Vernal, Utah and playing some drums, playing some music? And he he takes me to Lake Lure of all places. And Ron Nyberger, you know all about this because we do an episode on the podcast about Lake Lure. Ends up being, it's one of my favorite places on the planet. It's so beautiful. It got absolutely wrecked during the Hurricane Helene a year ago, but they are on the mend. They're back up and running for the most part. Chimney Rock is back up and running, and that's a huge attraction right near there. But the bro takes me down to Lake Lure, and we're having some beers. He's like, "Yeah, man, come on, like, It would just be epic if we went and did this. Couple months down the road, all three of us are on stage with Micah and Jay and Travis in front of like damn near 4,000 people, and we're like, well, I guess this is happening. It's like this is wild. But yeah, to talk a little bit about some of the music. So, I didn't know all that much about what the Hitchhiker effect was. So curiosity strikes, and I start really looking into it. I was like, oh shit, like, this is number one. This is some stuff that has actually reportedly really affected some folks, and it's kind of terrifying.
Mhm.
We were talking, Austin and I were talking about on the episode that we did about Skinwalker Ranch, kind of like Hitchhiker is the first time I've ever really heard somebody put a term to it. But would you not equate a hitchhiker effect to most of the idea of when you go to a haunted location and you bring something back?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
I think that the hitchhiker effect in context of this is very specific to Skinwalker Ranch, but I've heard about the hitchhiker effect since I was a kid, and I'm like,
Right.
that's the number one thing I don't want to happen if I go to some haunted ass location. I don't want to bring back Reagan from the freaking Exorcist that wakes me up screaming, crawling across the ceiling in the middle of the night. Oh God, I've revealed my fear. But no, I'm just kidding. But I was thinking about like, man, this concept is really heavy. It's really cool. A lot of the stuff that we started playing initially with Hitchhiker was very rock and roll based, and I've written kind of every kind of music in the world, but I was like, I'm just kind of feeling something a little Pantera, something a little that's got a little bit of just Pantera energy to it, some
Hmm.
a little Metallica, just something with a heavy ass Texas swing breakdown to the middle of it. And yeah, dude, I had the tether written in maybe an hour.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I had it written and record. I had it written in an hour. I had it recorded probably that night.
Hmm.
Um, and then you know Doc Taylor, he sings the song into an iPhone, and
Right.
I'm like these takes are just working for me, man. I'm not making him re-record it. So I just EQ the hell out of it. Doc Taylor on the recording. That's all on an iPhone. And hey, cheers to you, Steve Jobs and Tim Cook. That stuff sounds great.
It really did. And folks, I cannot begin to tell you how excited I am for you, the subscribers and viewers and listeners out there, to hear the finished version of what this song that's called Tether is, what it sounds like, because it is just, I mean, it hits you right between the eyes and shows you no mercy. I mean, it's uh it's really something special. And for an original that we've composed within the band, it's primarily the work of Caleb here and Travis, and it is just wow. I'm beyond thrilled to be able to not just perform it, but just to be able to listen to when we finally get the finished version for folks to listen to. I think people are going to really enjoy the originals that you and Travis have been coming up with. And the other one that's called "I Bet They Rock and Roll,"
Oh yeah.
which is just a good old fashioned, uh, you know, classic rock banger as well. And folks, if you've not had the chance to hear Travis sing, and I'm not talking about just singing live, but hearing him on a recording, he's got the voice for it. It's like he was born to be a rock singer. I mean, truly, and he's got the gift in that regard. And
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, dude, I love I Bet They Rock and Roll because it is number one, it's just the embodiment of rock and roll. Like the concept of the song is awesome. It's Travis Taylor. He is a brilliant credentialed scientist, one of the smartest people I've ever known. But I love the fact that he's just got this like raw rock and roll sense about him.
hmm
And this song is just, it's derived from all the classic rock and roll stuff that he used to listen to, And basically Travis like just sends us some videos of this tune, and he's kind of like roughing it out on the guitar. And I was like, I got you, fam. Blah, blah, blah. Getting the computer, start programming out the drums, and I was like, I think I know how this should sound as a song as a whole.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, honestly, it's kind of Guns N' Roses-esque, which makes a lot of sense. Travis is a huge fan of Guns N' Roses, but it's got like hints of like old school Kiss in there.
Yep.
But it's just a badass, and it's got a little hint of AC/DC in there too, because he
Mhm.
was like, I want some gang vocals in there on the bet they rock and roll parts. I was like, dude, I got you. I'm gonna do that like Angus Young gremlin growl. I bet they rock and roll.
I bet they rock and roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
TNT.
I hired a small clan of goblins to sing the gang vocals on that one. But yeah, man.
Dirty deeds and the dun cheap.
Ow! Dude. Oh, Bon Scott era AC/DC.
Yep.
Give me a break. Give me a break. Hey, I do want to ask everybody on the podcast like all of their initial like baseline influence music that got them all into it. But first, I want to ask Roger the most important question that I've ever asked Roger, and maybe the most important question ever asked. Why in 2025, why the fuck have they not added controller support for Diablo 3 on PC? Why?
God.
It's one of my favorite games, and I have to play the console port to play it with a controller. It's dumb.
Well, to give you an exact reason,
Why do you hurt me, Roger?
I'm just
if I could change that, I would. But
I know you're not in
those
that,
of you in the gaming
company.
industry, alas, the last few years and in 2025, it's been really, really rough.
Yeah.
And a lot of gaming studios and developers have cut costs. They've consolidated, they've laid off a lot of people. And so, Caleb, unfortunately, and it pains me to say this, it's not a priority for him. And I, a lot of game companies are just looking to do the most possible with the least amount of effort and money.
It makes
And
sense.
it hurts. It really does hurt because yeah, you should be able to go back and play Diablo 3 with a controller on your PC, and you should be able to macro all of that stuff and have fun. Because you should be, that's the thing. And sorry to go on a little rant here, but
No.
that's what used to make Blizzard Entertainment so great was because they were customizable. They worked towards making that great game experience for the user, for the gamer, and they listen and they do that. And today, that's not the way it is at all, and it just breaks my heart.
Yeah, I don't have a problem at all throwing some shit at Blizzard right now because I'm gonna throw you a shit Blizzard because dude, the game came out in what year?
It came out in 2012.
2012, and no controller support natively for PC. Blows my mind. The console port is great, but I like playing on my PC. I'm complaining. It is a problem of luxury. I like playing on the PC, but it is crazy to me that I also can't just install the console port on the PC. Why don't they just give us
it would take, honestly, the amount of effort that they could do and put it and make it happen would be pretty easy to do. But they don't. And that's one of the things that just, I mean, because Diablo 3, you either love Diablo 3 or you hate it, and I'm one of those guys that love it.
I love it.
Because I can go back and play Diablo 3 over and over and over again and just
Me
run
too.
through that. I mean, it is just so fun going in there and just smashing the hell out of everything. And
And
yeah.
Diablo 4 is not there, dude. It's just not. I don't know what. I don't know.
No. Again, this is just my opinion, and other people may have different opinions, but as soon as they started adding microtransactions to these games, it just wasn't Blizzard anymore. I'm like, that's not the way it worked. Like I had fun trying to get that loot and go and find those legendary items and going into dangerous places and figuring out strategies. And now it's like, oh, you just pay us some money and we're just gonna go give you that shit for free. So
It's much worse than Diablo Immortal, which is their big cash cow. It is what it is.
right,
But at
right,
the end of the day, look, I don't give a single shit about if a company has a cash shop for cosmetics that are exterior to the game. Whatever, I don't give a fuck. But it's just like the core game obviously suffered with Diablo 4 in the wake of them trying to essentially figure out how to inject microtransactions into the thing. Either that or they just the vision that they had for the game just didn't really execute the way they wanted it to do. And I do think that there is an element of that to it, but it does kind of seem to be like greed a little bit kind of got in the way of, oh, maybe we should just baseline make a decent game.
yeah, yeah, and 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 I'm not, and the thing is, so you get your fourth installment of Diablo, right? And okay, they're telling a story, they've added some lore and stuff like that, but now with the seasons, they're just rehashing old stuff like, oh, we're gonna bring back Belial. Well, you know what? Hey, I already took that dude out in Diablo 3. Come on, give us some new content, get us some creative people back there. That's what needs to happen so they can get their stuff back on track because it's just
I
frustrating.
keep seeing people online be like, Diablo 4 doesn't have a Diablo in it.
Exactly. There is no Diablo in it.
You
Well,
know,
that being said, like I would be fine if they just reskinned Diablo 3 with the Diablo 4 graphics, and maybe somebody out there will just mod the thing out, get a private server so we can still get primals and let us go. End of rant. That's all I had to say. What were we talking about, Jim?
cocaine.
Okay. Oh yeah, we were talking about music. So let's start with the most important member of Hitchhiker. Roger, what were your earliest musical influences?
Wow, my earliest musical influences. So,
Hot Reagan.
um,
What
what
made you write
what
the
was
music
that,
you
Jim?
write today?
Hmm.
Oh, man, man. So, my dad growing up, he just, I mean, he was from, he's a boomer. He loved that 50s music, the 60s stuff and everything. So I listened to a lot of that growing up, and it's crazy because out here, being born and raised in Utah, my parents had a lot of influence in listening to the Osmonds. So you got you got a lot of Donnie and Marie Osmond in there. But all kidding aside, I think what really there's two genres of music that got like influenced what I love and what I listen to today. And I have to say, I am open-minded. I love all genres of music. I can appreciate pretty much anything. But number one, Jim knows this, but I love like the synth wave, the 80s, because that's the time that I was growing up. That's what really influenced me. So anything from Depeche Mode, The Cure, Erasure, things like that. But also at the same time, the heavy metal bands. I mean, love Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and things like that. And it was, I mean, those were the formative years where I just loved to listen to the music over and over. I remember, buying tickets to like an Erasure concert, not telling my parents, sneaking out, driving up, and going to watch an Erasure concert that came through. Just stuff like that. It was just the music was just great, and I mean, I still listen to it today. And some people probably make fun of me for this, but the other thing that I absolutely just love and still listen to all the time are Broadway musicals. Like you can
Hell
just
yeah.
sit back and enjoy those stories and the music. Like I really love Stephen Sondheim and people like Andrew Lloyd Webber, and then even modern now. Look at like Lin-Manuel Miranda, Hamilton and things like that. They're just such great music, and you can go back to the early Broadway stuff back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all the way up today, and you can find something that will just move you to tears. It's
Dude, if I had a quarter for every single time I tore into an 18 pack of Keystone Light and cried to suddenly see more from Little Shop of Horrors, I could retire.
Yep, there you go.
That song is so damn good. Like the ending of that shit where they're doing giant crescendoed harmony.
Oh yeah.
Dude, my little ass got goosebumps before I even understood what was going on listening to that. I was like, what is Rick Moranis doing to me right now? It was
Oh
incredible.
yeah.
John, how about you? What was it that did it for you? What was the music that started you off on your journey?
Oh my God. My musical upbringing was pretty strange. I mean, my house had everything from ELO, Styx, Boston, John Denver, Johnny Horton, a bunch of stuff from the 50s.
The Wafer Brothers.
Yeah, the Wafer Brothers, really popular back in the 50s and 60s. And I heard they're making a comeback.
They might.
They might, you never know. And then God, then it went to like Bee Gees, tons of Bee Gees.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
then I started getting into of course, like Kiss, some AC/DC, more Sticks, Boston, Journey. One of my favorites around that time though was Chris de Burgh. Remember Don't Pay the Ferryman, that
Mhm.
type of The Lady in Red.
Lady in Red. Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
hey.
he is an amazing freaking songwriter. Like I freaking love his early stuff. So yeah, I loved all that kind of stuff. Van Halen, of course. Then I went through like a Christian rock phase for 5 or 6 years. Um,
You jamming some Jars of Clay, dog?
dude, the first Jars of Clay album is awesome.
Dude,
It
I,
is so good.
I don't want to jump ahead of my turn, but like, I don't know if you guys know this. The Christian punk rock scene in the early 2000s was some of the most dank shit I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, what was the oh, there's a
Reliant K?
Reliant K, and then there was a one that had like One Bad Pig.
I don't
Did we
know.
ever One Bad Pig?
There was
Uh,
this. Sorry
I've
to
heard
jump
of
in on
Reliant K
your
though.
session though, but like there was this band called Slick Shoes, and they were just like it was Christian punk rock. It was just they were some of the most incredible musicians, and they were so melodic, and they were so all over the place. It was just incredible. Sorry, go on.
No, no, that's fine. Um, let's see. Gosh, then I don't even know what. It just meandered. I've meandered all over the place. Yeah, we got into like harder rock later. I listen to stuff from all over the world though, so it's just I don't listen to much country, but lots of other stuff. And then speaking of freaking show tunes and Broadway stuff, I've never listened to much of that. But check this out. One time, this is a hilarious story to me. You kind of had to be there, maybe. But my kids and I are in Estonia, right? We've just flown into freaking Europe, kind of jet lagged. I blame it on the jet lag. I'm kind of tired. We leave our hotel room, walk down to this church, and we're just touring the church because thing's probably like 1,300 years old, you know. And there's this little music group in there playing, and they're just doing a variety of popular songs. And one of them was from Phantom of the Opera. I can't remember which song it was, but in here we are in this ancient church, and this lady has this gorgeous voice, and I'm just like, you know. Tears are starting to fall. And my son, he was like 14 or 15 at the time, he
You're
just
lame, Dad.
turned and looked at me and goes, "Are you crying?"
The power of the phantom.
Like, shut up.
You never felt the power of the Phantom. Shut up, kid.
Are you listening to this? This is amazing.
Yeah.
He's like Billy Zane, the Phantom. You're like, you shouldn't know that. You're 14.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's beautiful, dude. I think I would probably have that same reaction.
We would have been weeping on each other's shoulders.
100%. I have very,
Hey.
very, very visceral reactions to music. I mean, I can
I
anytime to music.
there are songs, and I think that's how you can tell when you're a true fan of music is when you let it, like you say, you feel that so viscerally, so down to your very core that it makes you cry, and not necessarily because you're sad, but just because it's so
Moving.
it just moves you. And there's there are songs that I'll listen to that just I know I can't listen to in public because I'll just be like,
Yep.
And one of the worst ones for me was, um, and this is an artist that I don't even really like listening to, but a couple years ago, James Blunt wrote a song for his dad who was dying of cancer at the time called Monsters. And I lost my dad right around the same time that this song came out. And when James Blunt recorded, I'm going to get choked up just talking about it. James Blunt recorded the video before his dad died. And it's basically his tribute to his dad. And he's basically telling his dad, it's my turn to tuck you into bed. I'll be the one to chase the monsters away. And it just, I heard that and I watched that music video and I full on ugly cried for like 2 hours. And, I mean, it was, but it was, James, and again, it just illustrates it doesn't have to be an artist that you like or even a genre of music that you like. If there's something that just hits you at the right point in time, it leaves an impact on you that you feel for the rest of your life. And that's just one such example. I mean, there's a lot of songs. I mean, Silent Lucidity by Queensryche still, gives me the chills every time I listen to it. Um, and I guess I can use that to segue into, what music was it that did it for me? Well,
Yeah.
I am extremely eclectic when it comes to music. Now, obviously, being a synthesizer and keyboard guy, I am all about the '80s synth pop and synth wave, trance music, all that kind of stuff. But the very first album I ever bought was Kiss Destroyer. I
Hell
was a
yeah.
I
Yep.
was a, and we're
Got that
talking,
album.
this was like 78, 79 time frame that I got this. And I was a huge Kiss fan at the age of like 7 or 8 years old.
You think
Uh,
you're a badass? First album I ever bought was Orinoco Flow by Enya.
Enya, okay,
Yeah,
there
there
you
you
go.
go.
I'm not
But
messing around. I seriously bought that shit. Loved it.
what what kicked off my love of the synthesizer though was I was about 5 years old, and my eldest brother, had just come home from college attending Caltech. He just graduated from Caltech actually, and uh, he was listening to this band called Kraftwerk, and it was a song called Autobahn, and it was unlike anything I'd ever heard, and it was the song that broke Kraftwerk in the United States. And outside the United States, Kraftwerk are considered the godfathers of electronic music. They are the ones that influenced disco. They're the ones that influenced new wave. They were pioneers of early hip hop. All the early hip hop DJs and music producers were constantly sampling Kraftwerk for their records. And so Kraftwerk, that's kind of what started off my fascination with synthesizers. And to this day, but obviously in the '80s, where I really went down the rabbit hole for synthesizers was Depeche Mode. Um, I always say that Kraftwerk made me fall in love with the synthesizer. Depeche Mode made me want to, do that for a living. The music of Depeche Mode, and Depeche Mode are nowhere near as good as they used to be, and I readily admit that. But I've all the synth bands of the '80s: OMD, New Order, Erasure, Pet Shop Boys, Anything Box, Human League, um, Duran Duran, The Fix.
OMC.
You know, um, and but my house growing up, my mom and dad both were very heavily into classical music, so I got a lot of exposure to classical music as a kid. And my dad, in addition to loving classical, he loved old school country, Johnny Cash, um, all the ancient stuff like Patsy Cline. So I grew up on stuff like that. My older brother and most of my siblings were into the Grateful Dead, so uh, kind of had that influence around. And my parents were also big fans of bluegrass, believe it or not. And when I was a kid, especially as a teenager, I fucking hated listening to bluegrass. And
You and me
then
both.
and then I became, when I started, producing music professionally and really started to pay attention, I I attended a seminar years ago where Alan Parsons was giving a presentation.
Oh shit! Like
And
Alan Parsons Project, Alan Parsons.
the very same, yes.
I know so many Alan Parsons.
And he said that if there's one bit of advice, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, regardless of what kind of music you like to listen to, when you go home at the end of the day, and whatever does it for you, that's great. He said, but you have to learn to appreciate and see the value in all music, because if you want to make a living as a producer, the money is still green no matter what genre or style of music that it is. And he's right. You know, I produced in my years of producing music, I have done everything from working with just a solo acoustic act with just an acoustic guitar and voice, to all the way up to rock bands, punk bands, funk bands, obviously a lot of synth pop and electronic music, which is my specialty. But in college, I had to help record a 60, 70 piece symphonic orchestra, learning how to place microphones in a
Damn.
massive recording chamber. So, I learned to genuinely, there's not hardly any music that I listen to. I mean, I can listen to something and say, yeah, I don't like that. It's not for me. Doesn't impress me. But you will never hear me say, wow, this is complete shit. This takes no talent, because they're, even, and of course, one of the biggest criticisms I got growing up as well, all that synthesizer stuff, they just simply press a button and there's the song. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. Trust me, if there was a button on a synthesizer or a sampler that said hit song, I'd be hitting that button every single day. When I compose a song, like for my secret space program or my Eminent Soul project that I had, I would start off the same way that anybody else does. I'll start off with just a piano or an acoustic guitar, just figuring out a chord progression or maybe a melody that I like. And then I have to manually play every single one of those things into my DAW. Back in the old days, I did it on an 8-track or a 4-track recorder. But it's the same process. It's still a very human, hands-on thing where, I'm programming the drums, but I'm still doing it by hand. And then when it comes to playing the chords on the keyboard or the lead lines, bass lines, again, I'm still manually playing all that. And when my band performs live, yeah, we have some stuff that's on a backing track, like our drums, because we've never really been able to have a drummer up until recently that could keep up with us. But we still try to play as much live as, the keyboard players can manage with their two hands, and that's why when you see me on stage, I have seldom less than 2 or 3 keyboards by me, because I'm playing each one of those as often as I can. But I genuinely, every kind of music, I mean, Caleb, you got me going down this rabbit hole of angels and airwaves. John,
The old boss.
John, you got me into Sleep Token, right?
Yep.
And Jay Stratton has just got his. That's the thing that surprised me, is how eclectic his taste was. I mean,
he's into everything, and it's badass.
When we were at Stratton's house last year, rehearsing for Phenomenon last year, John, when Jay put on that Gunship record, I was like,
oh, yeah. That's one of my best memories of that trip, was sitting in their media room with that record player he's got that sounds like freaking amazing.
Yeah, that was the best.
Cranked up so loud that my
and Caleb, you were there too, right? I mean, we're listening to this great synthwave album that Jay puts on, and that was not on my bingo card. And
but now half of my playlist is that stuff, thanks to that guy.
Right. And of course, Travis, the one thing that Travis has done for me being in the band is it's taught me, it's made me fall in love again with all the old classic rock that, I just, for years I hadn't listened to. I mean, I freaking love AC/DC, Def Leppard, and, Bon Jovi, Ozzy. I was, I mean, it was truly devastating to lose Ozzy. I mean, that one hit close to home for me.
It's devastating to lose Ozzy, no doubt. He was the Prince of Darkness. He was a badass. However, I look at it as a positive. I look at it as a net positive. he lasted a long time and got to
Yes.
party harder than fucking anybody. I
And
think
it,
that I think it was an incredible run, dude. I don't know if anybody else would have survived what
Well,
he
and he
did.
made it to that last show.
exactly, he went out
Exactly.
on
Come
his
on.
terms. He
He
went
made
out
it.
on his
Exactly.
terms.
100%. I see it net positive, dude. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, I'll go over some of the stuff that got me into it. And Ozzy was right there, front and center. The first talent show I ever played in front of people, I played "Paranoid" by Black Sabbath on the drums
Yeah.
with metalhead kids that were a grade above me who were amazing. Unfortunately, one of them has passed. My buddy Josh Sheridan, RIP, brother. I know you're kicking some ass up wherever you are, or maybe you're down there where it's more fun. But I love you, brother, wherever you end
Ozzy.
up. Yeah, but dude, like, you know, for me, it's Beatles. Actually, the first time I was listening to, remember that just, and I know you do, that intro to "Money for Nothing."
Oh my
That
gosh.
that big growing
Hmm.
thing, and you're just hearing all these just big, huge ass sampled 80s drums. I
Hmm.
have a ninja sword from the Dollar Tree. It's plastic. And I have the blue sheath that it went in the other hand. And I just start beating the shit out of the arm of the couch. And mom and dad were like, maybe we should buy this little bastard a drum set. And that's really kind of where it started for me. But I mean, dude, I'm born in 1986. MTV is playing a decade's worth, or half a decade's worth of just banger after banger after banger. There was something going on in the 80s. The 90s was its own thing. The 70s, 60s obviously were their own thing, but there was something going on in the 80s where like the music production hit harder than anything. I mean, it
Yeah.
hit like son of a bitch, dude.
Hmm.
Jim, what was and I'll get into some of the other influences. What was the version of Take on Me that I had you look up when we were down there at band practice? The one with the intro that's so epic. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it's the extended mix, isn't it?
It's something like that. But dude, so we're talking about this music that like viscerally affects you. The first time I ever heard that extended mix of Take on Me, and it's just got these angelic harmonies just like blasting. I was like, dude, I felt like I had just died and gone to heaven. It was the most beautiful, awesome thing I've ever heard. And then this da 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 da, comes in, and I'm just like, all right, who are these bastards? Like, who is making shit this good? Dude, I'm like a little kid. I'm hearing Wicked Game by Chris Isaac. I'm hearing just all of this just crazy good music. Meatloaf, for the love of God.
Oh
Like
man, yeah.
that sort of stuff. Um, oh, did you find the one?
Yeah, I gotta play. Let's see if it's this one. Let's see. Take on. Here we go.
You didn't get a couple right.
Don't get stopped.
Can you hear that?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never heard that.
And now you're demonetized.
Yep.
We'll wait till it kicks in here. The X7. So yeah.
Woo! Man, dude, that intro, I'm like, holy crap.
That sounded amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. But then, I'm in the fourth grade. The Beatles have their resurgence. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's just fantastic. I'm super into this, and then it just snowballs. It gets heavier and heavier. I mean, Beatles goes to Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin goes to Black, and Zeppelin still to this day is one of the biggest. I mean, as a drummer growing up, you can't not love John Bonham.
Oh, absolutely,
Goes
absolutely.
Led Zeppelin goes to Sabbath. Sabbath goes to Metallica. Metallica goes to Pantera. Pantera was a huge influence on my brother and I. But as much as I loved the heavy stuff, I love melodic music. I love pop. I love melodic stuff. Blink 182 comes into the fold, and they get me into the punk rock thing. No Effects is one of my favorite bands of all time. I absolutely love punk stuff. Jim, one of the bands that got me into synthesizer music outside of the 80s was a band called Reggie and the Full Effect. And I don't know if you've
Huh.
ever heard of this band.
No, no, never heard of him.
Reggie and the Full Effect was the keyboard player for a band called the Get Up Kids. They were like an emo kind of alternative punk band in the 90s. Reggie and the Full Effect back in the day, that was some just incredible stuff. But, out of there, Angels and Airwaves, I ended up working for Tom DeLonge as an artist for his To the Stars website for a year there in 2015, which was really wild because
That's too cool.
I idolize Tom and Blink. I mean, dude, I'm Blink 182 to this day is still some of the best music I've ever heard. Uh, just because it was kind of my generation's shit, I mean, just like the whole punk rock stuff. So all of that, I mean, God, there's just countless pop punk bands to this day that I just absolutely adore. But another band that is a huge influence on me is a group called The Starting Line, and not a lot of people really know who that band is. And then Taylor Swift shouts them out on her more recent record, and then everybody's like, "Who the fuck's Starting Line?" And so they're like, "Well, I guess it's time to make another album." Yeah, so they kind of came out of the woodwork, but I'm glad to see those guys doing it. But yeah, I mean, dude, fundamentally, when I was a kid, I feel so intensely fortunate that I was able to see VH1 and MTV in an era where I'm just like turning on the TV and there's Beat It by Michael Jackson playing.
Mhm.
I'm turning on the TV and there's like even like dude, I've been on the biggest damn Billy Joel kick lately. Oh my God.
Oh,
Like
He's so good.
Allentown is the
oh,
most
hell yeah! Allentown's one of my favorite songs of his.
that
Truly.
fucking that and those kind of dissonant harmony, like those
Hmm.
dissonant chords he's doing.
Yep.
I'm like, number one, fuck you, William Joel. Number two, when did you sell your soul to the devil? Number three, you're a national treasure. Like the dude is just the amount of shit that he wrote that is so poignant blows my mind.
Right.
Like New York State of Mind is the most badass song. Like
I still love River of Dreams. I mean, the harmonies on that. Oh my gosh,
that's the
just make me
one.
swoon. Yeah.
That's the one that when I was walking around, little tiny Caleb singing the shit out of River of Dreams, man. But dude,
I go walking in the middle of it.
dude,
Hell yeah.
dude,
Ooh.
but I'm telling you, I genuinely I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I think We Didn't Start the Fire is one of the best songs ever. It
Yep.
encapsulates all of this history, but the music part of that is one of the most epic goddamn things I have ever heard in my life.
Oh yeah.
I ripped off, and Roger, you'll recognize this. I'm not ashamed to say I completely used "We Didn't Start the Fire" for one of the signature songs that I wrote for my Eminent Soul project, Decade. Right, Raj? It's
Yep.
same kind of thing. Just I used the lyrical way that Billy Joel told the story of the history from 1940s to the 1980s. I did the same thing for a song called Decade, where the lyrics are just strictly about all the massive headlines and things and culture things that happened in the 1980s, and I totally used Billy Joel as the architect for that.
One of my
Well,
favorite Billy Joel songs, hardly anybody ever mentions.
go for it.
The Downeaster Elect.
Alexa, yes.
I don't even know that one.
Dude,
Uh,
listen
it-
to that song. It's great.
It's on the same album as "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Really like that
Listen
song.
to that whole record all the way through. His
She's Got
discography is so
Away.
vast.
She's Got Away.
My
Matter of Trust.
Dude, we were talking earlier about songs that will just make you just cry. Lullaby. Oh my God. That "Good Night, My Angel, Now It's Time to Dream." I'm like, nah, dog, can't do it. You know the other tune that makes me kind of tear up. Oh, I sent this to Ron Nyberger the other night when we were shooting this shit, but I was like, brother. Sinead O'Connor doing "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" with the symphony. I'm like, I ain't making no promises.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh. Oh, from
gosh.
Evita, that is
Oh,
just that
Dude,
amazing.
I've got to
dude,
listen to that.
number
Yeah.
one, number one, Sinead O'Connor was punk as fuck. That
Hmm.
woman was so like she was she was just a badass in every way, shape, or form, and she was like singing "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" with this symphony behind her. She's up there in a pink leather jacket and the shaved head, just killing it. I mean, just doing it better than it's ever been done. And I'm sitting there like, this is the coolest fucking human being I've ever seen in my life, dude. I was like, I love this woman so much.
Yeah.
It makes me so sad the hardships she went through with her mental health
Oh yeah.
by the
Yeah.
end there, and like
Yeah.
losing her son. I mean, it really genuinely, just hurt me seeing that. But she is, dude, not just that. Like, uh, this is a rebel song. Jealous is another one that was there in the 90s. And I don't know if you know that tune, but that thing is
Yeah.
like the
Well,
reggae vibe to it, dude. That shit pop.
let's just go with the what ended up becoming her mainstream signature hit, the "Nothing Compares to You," which was originally written by Prince.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
She owned that song to the same extent that Johnny Cash owns "Hurt" by Nine Inch Nails. I mean,
Dude.
she
Yep.
took that she
Speaking
took
of
that
songs that make you cry,
she took
Oh,
that song and made it her own.
dude.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, while we're on it, "Blood of the Eden," Peter Gabriel and Sinead O'Connor.
Oh my
oh, that
gosh.
kills me.
Don't even get me started, dude.
There's a
Uh,
Gabriel song, Biko. You ever listen to
Oh,
Biko?
we've talked about Biko.
Dude, that oh my gosh, that's another one that gives me chills. They
Well, Peter,
used
yeah.
they used that in an episode of Miami Vice, and that was the first time that I ever heard that song
Mhm.
was watching that episode of Miami Vice, and oh my gosh. But I'm a huge Gabriel and Genesis fan though.
Oh, dude, Peter Gabriel is. It's not even. It's not even real. It's so funny because it's like it's so obvious. I don't think about it all the time.
Hmm.
Gabriel is 100% my favorite artist of all time because he's
uh,
just so
don't give
eclectic
up live
with
with
Kate
With
Paula
Bush.
Cole.
Well, Paula Cole. Well, so Kate Bush was on the
Yeah,
original recording.
but Paula Cole version is
Yeah. Paula Cole was his backup singer, and then she went on to
yeah,
do her thing, and I
yep.
mean she killed it. It was, I mean, that dude. If you watch that Secret World, and I think it's all on YouTube. That
Yeah,
Secret
so
yeah.
World live,
That's one of the best
so
live
good.
it's one of the best live
I,
concerts out
dude.
there. Yeah.
The energy that band is putting out by the end of the live cut of Salisbury Hill, that
oh,
is the most batshit energy ever. Like, you don't think of, you're thinking like Motley Crue is like, this gotta be the most, dude, it's just this pure happiness, this pure joy. That whole song, it's just like this elating, if that's a word, just feeling. And like,
Yeah.
God, that shit, it just kicks me in the ass every time I hear it.
yep,
Oh,
yep.
heck yeah. No, that's don't give up is another one of those songs. It's really, yeah, that's just such a timeless tune. And Kate Bush, discovered by David Gilmour of the Pink Floyd.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
that's another one of my all-time favorite bands is Pink Floyd. Don't ask me what I think of Roger Waters because I don't have nice things to say about Roger Waters, but
Yeah, he's a
uh,
dick.
yeah. But I love the music of Pink Floyd. David Gilmour is hands down my all-time favorite guitar player. He
Dude,
just
on the Turning Away.
oh
Oh,
oh gosh.
another song that makes you cry.
Uh,
That song kills me when I listen to it.
I'm right
Like
there with
On
you,
the
dude.
kills me,
on the
man.
Turning Away, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
God
so
damn.
On
powerful.
the pale and downtrodden.
Then at the end, closer to the end, where it just kind of gets really quiet, and then
Yeah.
dun da 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 da, and it
Yes.
drops.
Mhm.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
good, man.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Oh, I
Yes,
looked up.
indeed.
It was bugging me that I couldn't remember the name of the Phantom of the Opera song that got me when we were in Estonia.
Music of the
It's
night.
no, it's called All I Ask of You.
Oh yeah.
So
Hmm.
for those playing the at-home game, go listen to All I Ask of You after the podcast is over.
Well, Ron Nyberger, all I ask for you is 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
So check this out. My speaking of show tunes, little known fact, my grandmother on my dad's side, so my dad's mother, was the second cousin to the real life Maria von Trapp.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wait,
Mar-
say that again.
My grandmother, my dad's mom, was the second cousin to the real life Maria von Trapp. The Von Trapp family from
Brother's father's former roommate.
Maria Kuchera, I think was her maiden name, and she's somehow directly related to my grandmother. So, as you can imagine, when I was growing up, every time The Sound of Music came on the TV, that's what we were watching. So and to this day, The Sound of Music remains one of my all-time favorite musicals. I mean, how Julie
I've never
Andrews.
watched it. Can you
Never
believe
watched it?
Never watched The Sound of Music?
Oh!
My God.
Is that not crazy?
That's a crime, dude.
How
That's
have
a
I
crime.
never seen that? But it's just never worked out. I've never seen it.
Oh man. Yeah, I love
It's played
okay,
every year on TV.
my two favorite musicals of all time. Obviously, The Sound of Music ranks pretty high, but The Music Man with Robert Preston and Shirley Jones. Oh my gosh. I love that one. And of course, I have to say, because I grew up in the 70s, Grease. John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John. Come on. Everybody
Word.
fucking loves Grease, right?
I've seen Grease many, many times.
Yes,
Hey, you know
indeed.
what? Another musical movie. I would be surprised if any of you have seen that. I think I must have watched 10 times in the theater when I was 9 years old. Olivia Newton-John, Xanadu.
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 Dude,
Oh yeah, I have
my
seen
I
that many
swear to
times.
God, I've seen it
my
like
Muse.
wife, my wife, that is one of her all-time favorite movies is Xanadu.
Really?
So I know that movie backwards and forwards.
Oh my gosh, yeah. All the roller skating and it was a fun movie.
I have to watch it again. I haven't seen it since like 1980.
It's got Gene Kelly in it. Come on, it's one of the last movies he ever did. Yeah, it's
Dude,
timeless.
I know this is slightly off topic from the more Broadway musical kind of stuff, but another tune that just punches me right in the sack every single time I hear it. Human Nature by Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, yeah.
Dude, when that is some of the most just like when you hear that, I just see the music video and they always had like the skyline of the city, and it just reminds me of like New York in the 80s, and I'm just like, God, dude, what a time to be alive. There was something about the film stock of everything
Right?
back then that was so surreal.
Yeah. Well, you know who wrote that song, right? It wasn't Michael Jackson or Quincy that wrote it. That wasn't John Steve Porcaro?
It was someone like that.
It was
trying to remember. It was Steve Porcaro.
Yeah, it's one of the guys in Toto is who wrote that song for Michael
That
Jackson.
doesn't surprise me in the least, but that's an awesome tidbit. Well, it's like Don't Come Around Here No More was written by the guy from the Eurythmics, but Tom Petty
Right.
was they thought they were gonna give it to Stevie Nicks, and then Tom Petty was like, Stevie doesn't want this one, I guess I'm gonna take it.
Boys of Summer was written by Mike
Campbell. Mike Campbell, yeah.
And Tom Petty's like, I don't really like that either. It was,
And he gave it to Henley, and then he played. I remember the story. They actually went to go play the finished recording of Boys of Summer to Tom Petty, and he's like, "Oh, I kind of dig this. What song?" And then Mike Campbell's like, "This is the one that you didn't want to do."
But honestly, dude, I can kind of hear Petty doing that shit and it being badass.
Absolutely.
See, that for me, that is one of my top 5 favorite songs of the 80s is The Boys of Summer. I mean, I love everything about that song. That Telecaster with the reverb on it. Oh my gosh.
Well, dude, and also Don Henley could sing numbers out of the phone book, and I'd be like, yeah, just keep going, dog.
Man.
Keep going.
New York Minute.
Oh,
all my favorite songs, man.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you know what's one of my favorite Eagles tunes is "Pretty Maids in a Row." That last,
it's my God,
on Hotel California, and Joe sings it. Oh my God, those harmonies at the end.
Yes. I still think you, Travis, and Micah need to do the acapella Seven Bridges Road at Phenomenon.
Even just part of it, because
Yeah,
people love that shit.
I'm not
yeah,
opposed. I've done
yeah.
so many. I still don't know the weird words to it, but I've performed it like 50 times.
Okay, here's one for you guys. Which one is the better guitar solo? The guitar solo at the end of Hotel California or the guitar solo at the end of Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd?
Hmm.
I'm gonna go with
Okay.
comfortably numb.
Well, better is subjective. More
Yeah.
iconic is clearly Hotel California. Like everyone on the planet knows that.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think I've got a
But
hybrid answer between Ron and Roger, which is from it being a memorable solo, probably Hotel California, because everybody knows what it's about to do.
yeah,
Mhm.
But as far as just if you're just talking about a very emotive, kick-ass rock and roll guitar solo, see,
yeah.
you can't even hardly say solo with Hotel California because it's a duet.
It's a duet
But it's a
between
really well,
Walsh and
good
Don
point.
Felder. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So okay,
The
solo,
difference.
then Pink Floyd wins.
Yeah, I
The
agree.
other
That's
one's not
that's
a solo.
that's a good point. I never thought of it that way. It's not really the Hotel California one is more of a trading
It's a call
riffs.
and response.
Yeah, call and response. Wow, I never thought of it that way. So yeah.
It's all the Guinness. It helps me think.
That's right.
So you guys, this is something that music that I more kind of in my adult life that I listen to, but just the scores and soundtracks to games. So like Skyrim,
Oh,
Halo,
Skyrim is good.
those like even just The Legend of Zelda, that classic theme that you
Uh,
got going. And
the Breath of
like
the
I
Wild.
could just sit and listen to that music all day long because these game companies and studios, like they put together such great symphonies of music to go along with their games. Like it's great to just sit back and listen and de-stress.
I
Roger,
think.
when we oh sorry, go ahead, John.
No, I was just gonna say. I think it's what's the oh God, it's from Skyrim. The streets of Whiterun. People are using that music for like instead of "Here Comes the Bride" now. Streets of Whiterun. And now if you go listen to it with that in mind, you're like, holy crap,
Well,
that's
dude,
perfect.
Jim, I was going to bring this up to you, and maybe we have talked about this before, but like, I still love video games. Obviously, I'm like in the middle of the podcast, I'm like, Roger, tell me about Diablo. But dude, when I was a kid, regular NES was the big system, and
Hmm.
I love old 8-bit video game music so much.
Oh yeah.
I adore it. I mean, I've programmed some chips tune stuff. I mean, I
Right.
love that stuff. And I think that like that coupled with growing up in an era where synth music is very popular, still to this day has influenced, my personal integration of a lot. Because I mean, dude, I don't play a lot of like actual synths. I don't play piano.
Hmm.
I can mess around on it enough to make it make some
I heard you tearing up some Howard Jones backstage at Phenomicon last year on my Juno. So I
Oh
know I,
well,
I know you can do that shit.
I was probably just trying to figure it out. I think I have a general understanding enough of what to do on there to make it kind of make it do what I need it to do.
Hmm.
Um, but oh yeah, dude. So Roger, I think we talked about this when we were at Phenomicon. I played Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, back in 2021 when I found out that it was a thing. And dude, I kind of have come back around to the game and I've been mainlining it. Dude, Final Fantasy 14 has some at, incredible music. In fact, like all of the Final Fantasy games have incredible music.
Oh yeah, yeah, hands down.
Like
It's amazing.
dude, so one of the things that I was lamenting to you at Phenomicon was that when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second disc of the series came out, I was like, this thing plays like it. The graphics look like crap on the PS5. Well, I subsequently got it for PC. I'm finally getting to experience it the way that it was supposed to be experienced, and
Nice.
I have not been disappointed, my man.
That is amazing. Yeah, yeah. PS5 was not not what it should have been. But yeah, PC. That's why I'm ultimately still a PC gamer because with what you can do, the power of the PC is just incredible when it comes to games and music. So
Dude, the thing I've been doing, if this is illegal, well, come get me. But like the thing I've been doing recently is I'm buying the games legally on Steam, but then I'm doing some mods for some of the older games. And for Final Fantasy 9, they have this mod where all of the backgrounds of Final Fantasy 9 were they were hand painted paintings, and they essentially just like made it to where the characters would look like they were running through there. Well, they've made mods to where they have used AI to enhance the original paintings that they essentially had to rip from the files from, like, I guess it was on PlayStation. I think Final Fantasy 9 was on PlayStation 1, dude. So all those backgrounds had to be compressed to where they just looked like just total shit compared to these beautiful, paintings that these people had made for all of these locations. But people had figured out how to mod these things to where it's all widescreen. You can run these games at like 120 FPS, and I'm just like, this is the dream. The
oh
dream
yeah,
come
yeah.
true. It's
The
just
art,
incredible.
yeah, that would make it just so look so good,
Roger,
especially those things. Yeah.
you remember the music for Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda?
Oh,
Oh, who
hands
does who?
down.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
that's
gosh,
that's that's some of the best. That's legendary. You're talking legendary status for gaming music now,
Oh
man.
man,
Yeah.
that every all of the music, number one, just incredible game. You want to know a funny story though? Uh,
Does it involve cocaine?
every single one of my stories involve cocaine
Cocaine Bear.
and a small dinosaur hand puppet. But dude, so the first song that we know of, for the most part, mainstream, that uses auto tune. You want to guess? I know you.
Share, believe.
Yes, share, believe. All right.
1998.
Yep. When that shit pops out, I knew a good thing when I heard it. I was like, I don't know what she's doing. She's probably she's probably talking to the aliens and they gave her this technology. Dude, I was playing the end of Ocarina of Time. Do you believe? I had that shit. I recorded it off a radio. I'm like, this is
Oh,
a banger, dude. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't believe in guilty pleasures, dude. I do not believe
Neither,
in them.
neither do I, man. I like what I like. I mean, I can literally go one moment I'm listening to Metallica and Def Leppard and Kiss, or something even harder like Cannibal Corpse, heaven forbid.
Oh,
And then
dude,
the
hell
next,
yeah.
and then the next moment I'm listening to Wham. And you know what, folks? I fucking love Wham.
Dude,
George Michael. I mean, I just Careless Whisper is still the one of the greatest ballads of all time. That saxophone solo, that saxophone riff in Careless Whisper, holy cow. If that does not get you going, you're not human, man. I mean, that is like one of the greatest songs. And George Michael, his Faith album, especially when you consider he played almost every instrument on the Faith album. So the guy was not just simply, a singer and a guy that happened to have a handsome face. He was genuinely a great musician, great songwriter, great singer, and a decent human being as well. So I agree. No guilty pleasures for me. I love what I love, and I'm not ashamed of it.
dude,
I
it's
used
funny
to
you
know
say
Wake
that.
Me Up Before You Go on piano, and my mom would make me play that all the damn time.
There you go. Yeah, dude, I'm very much the same way. Like I love Slayer so much. And
Oh yeah,
they're
dude.
like a satanic band or whatever. And I'm like, cool, well, Satan, well, okay.
Kerry King, man, right?
Dude, like I can listen to I could not even I'm not even kidding. I could listen to Seasons in the Abyss
Oh
by
gosh,
Slayer back to back with I Want You by Savage Garden. Like
War Ensemble is like one of my favorite metal pieces by and Slayer. War Ensemble.
dude, hell yes.
Yeah.
Slayer's got some bangers, dude. Like
Hmm.
and like, I mean, Jesus Christ. It's funny that I say Jesus Christ to describe this because I'm talking about a band that's like supposedly satanic. But dude, Ghost, give me a fucking break.
Right?
Like, dude, that band. So, you know what's so funny? Before Ghost became this iconic, huge rock band, back before they were really, really big, Justin Bilton of Three Doors Down texts me. He's like, dude, I got tickets to go see this band Ghost at the Orange Peel. It's this venue here in Asheville.
Hmm.
He's like, you want to go? And I was like, oh yeah, whatever. I Google Ghost, and I'm like, this is a fucking reggae band. It's like, I mean, I'm fine with reggae, but it's a little, the hippie scene in Asheville used to be pretty huge, and I was like, okay, I mean, man, if he wants to go see this, okay, I'll see it. We get there, and it's like OG Ghost, like in the bishop hat with the skull with the skeleton makeup
Oh
on,
my
and
gosh.
they're literally like going around with the thurible on stage, and then they go around to the front your row and give everybody communion. And the whole backdrop of the set is just like all of these like stained glass windows. And even though they're like a satanic band, it's obviously a shtick, and I knew that. And the lead singer's up there, he's like, "You see these girls, you be good to these girls, you be kind and you be nice." And I'm like, yeah, well, if these are Satanists, then count me in. These guys seem nice as shit. And I was so blown away by how everybody was just so happy, and the community was so into it. The music was so cool and different than anything I'd ever heard. The old school ghost stuff is really it's got that almost kind of spooky carnival vibe to it.
Right.
And dude, I just remember coming out of that being like, man, I've been to way shittier church services.
All right.
Not to bash on
Well,
anybody's.
I remember being dragged, kicking and screaming, practically to this indie artist who's like one of these modern indie country artists, bluesy country thing, and it ended up being the point where I began going down this rabbit hole of modern day blues, folksy country, modern country, but indie country. And then when I say modern country, I'm not talking about like, Jason Aldean and stuff like that. I'm talking, and my son is the one who did it. My son actually has just as much of an eclectic taste as I do, and it ended up being like anytime we now get a really good blues band. I mean, for a guy who grew up listening to Depeche and all the synth stuff and all the '80s rock and stuff, if you get yourself a really good blues band or a really good, bluegrass or country live band, it's a damn good time. And
You heard Marcus King?
who's that?
You heard Marcus King?
I know Mark King.
Well, I know you know Mark King.
We all know Mark King.
Hell, yes, we do, dude. If the guys would never go for it, but I would be so excited if Hitchhiker could do level 42.
I would love to do games.
I'm working on a cover of Lessons in Love right now.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
For Flynn's Arcade, for my other band. Yep.
I'm gonna sound like a dick. I'm not gonna sound like a dick, but this is a weird deep cut. You know what tune I absolutely just adore, and I only found it recently? Public Image Limited. I could be wrong. Oh, we talked about this, John. I forgot, or not John, Jim.
I may be right. I may be wrong. Yeah. Oh, dude. Let me tell you. I could be
right. I could be wrong. Like, dude.
Yep.
I had no idea that Johnny Rotten had a band after the Sex Pistols.
Oh, dude. Public Image Limited is one of my best concerts I've ever been to. 1989, just outside of Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
New Order were the headliner. The opening act was the Sugar Cubes, so Bjork before she went solo.
Oh my
God.
And
then after the Sugar Cubes came on, the Sugar Cubes got through 3 songs because they started the show by saying "Good evening, Milwaukee," and Buffalo, New York, they weren't going to put up with that, so they got booed off stage basically after about 3 or 4 songs. But Public Image Limited came on next, and oh my gosh, John Lydon is, I mean, that to this day, that it was like, it was such a big difference between Public Image Limited, because John Lydon, Sex Pistols, right? And they did an entire set of Sex Pistols songs, which was great. People were slamming. It was my first experience ever in a mosh pit, and then New Order comes on, and New Order, the place just immediately vibes down, chills out. Everybody's dancing, and it was like, to this day, one of the best shows. And that's what made me a lifelong Public Image Limited fan, was that concert. And so yeah, I'm a huge fan of PIL. Big fan.
Johnny Rotten, it's so he can be such a dick.
Yes.
but he can also when he shows his soft side, you can
Mhm.
see that there's like a probably just a pretty tortured dude in there. But
Mhm.
I have seen him be so incredibly sweet, and then he's on that panel with like Henry Rollins and Duff McKagan,
Yeah.
and he's just drunk off his ass, and he's being such a butthole, and I'm just like, God Almighty! It's like, how is this the same dude? And then you listen to something like Public Image Limited, and it's just, I mean, dude, that is like borderline Peter Gabriel cerebral shit.
Mhm.
It's really, really incredible. It's
So
so weird.
I've got 3 Public Image Limited songs for you to go listen to.
All right, let me write them down.
Listen to Warrior, and then listen to Disappointed, and
Okay.
then listen to Don't Ask Me.
All right.
And then, of course, the Rise, which was that's one of their famous songs. But yeah, those 3 tracks, because those are the ones that came out about the time that I saw them live in concert. And the guitar player that he had in the band at that time was John McGuck, who was this famous British uh, guitar player. Played in a band called Magazine over in the UK, early punk band.
Was that the guy
Um,
with the long hair that was in
yeah,
that's been in his band for a minute?
yeah, yep,
Yep.
yep,
Yep.
that's him. Yep,
Yeah, he's kind of a badass. I was watching some of their live performances on YouTube. I was like,
yeah.
this guy kind of rules.
Yeah, that's one of the best, and it was funny because we that day I got Sex Pistols songs being done by the original frontman of the Sex Pistols, and then when New Order came on, they played a section they played a segment of nothing but Joy Division tunes,
Nope.
and obviously it was 3 of the 4 original members of Joy Division, so it was like I got both the Sex Pistols and a Joy Division gig in between Public Image Limited and New Order, so it was that was yeah, 1989. Great, great, great year.
Oh, dude, hold on. While we're on the subject of music, and I know we're running long, but
Yep.
whatever. We'll get off here whenever you kick me off. But let me show you guys something real quick. I'll be right back.
The suspense is killing me.
Yes. So, in case you folks have been wondering, I do have a tub of popcorn, and as Caleb and Roger were talking about their stuff, I'm just like, I'm only here for the comments.
Ooh, look at the shiny Ibanez.
Love it.
I'm kitting this thing out, right? So, got the Ibanez Steve Vai signature guitar. I
Is
have only ever
is
really,
is that a gem?
yeah, it's a Jimm.
Ooh.
I have only ever really played. So I'm kitting this thing out. Here's one thing that's really great, John. And I think that you do own a Floyd Rose.
I
Got
do.
this little thing that just holds the little tool on the back there for you. So anytime you need to
Wow.
Oh,
pop
that's
the,
a fantastic
it's a
idea.
very smart idea.
You're always losing your Allen wrenches, and you
Always losing your Allen
can't
wrench until
find the right one.
it's right back there hiding
That's
on the
genius.
neck of your guitar. These things are like $5 on Amazon.
That's
That's
genius.
awesome.
Holy crap.
It's so cheap. So obviously, if you're not familiar with the Floyd Rose, anytime that this guy goes out of tune and does some weird stuff, like really out of tune, you have to use the Allen wrench to get that stuff going on. So I
Right.
found that little dude, and it's kind of game changing. But so I've never really played lead guitar ever. I could mess around on the pentatonic scale pretty well, but I just recently was like, the bro and I started playing with some guys that we played with, back in the 2005 6 era. My buddy Cody Britton, he's an incredible drummer. We started this band. We didn't have a band name for it. We actually started this band way back in the day, around 2005, and we didn't have a band. And I was like, let's call the band Beardicus, like Spartacus.
I was wondering where that name came from in the chat the other day.
Well, the the band name actually came from these silly videos that this other band, Motion City Soundtrack. They're a killer pop punk band from the early 2000s. They made these videos when they were making one of the records, and the lead singer, had grown this huge beard. Justin Courtney Pierre, he's a very eclectic songwriter. They're working on a new record, but they made these funny videos and they just posted them on like MySpace, and they were Beardicus, and I was laughing so hard about that shit. They were like, "What are we gonna call this band?" We like booked a gig at the high school on the track. This is after everybody had graduated from high school, and I dropped out, never finished. And they're like the day of the show, we're like, we don't have a band name. And I was like, Beardicus. And so we get to the show and we're like, hey guys, we're Beardicus. And at the end of the show, there was a group of kids jumping up and down, screaming, Beardicus, Beardicus. And I was crying. I was laughing so hard at this shit. So 20 years passes and the same guys, same lineup, exact same people. We're like, we can kind of go play some bars and stuff. What are we going to call the band? And I'm like, Beardicus. And so we start booking some shit as Beardicus. And to me, it's just the biggest joke of all time. I just think it's hysterical. And people seem to be receptive of it. Micah wants to change the band name. We'll see if it happens, Micah. But so I'm playing guitar in this band, and I've never ever really played lead guitar, but I was like, I think I probably can. And so I kind of started getting on YouTube and learning some stuff. So today I've spent the entire day learning the solo to Jump by Van Halen.
Oh, nice.
And let me tell you why. Well, I don't need to tell you why it sucks. Because Eddie is the king, and that shit's hard to play.
That's a hard solo to start with.
Well,
you didn't pick an easy one to start with.
I'm not starting. I can play some stuff. At this point, I've just been like going through and learning this and that. But at this point is where I'm kind of like, yeah, I think I could do that. And so far, so good. One of the first solos that I've learned was not like the big long one. But do you guys remember from the Van Hagar era, "Humans Being" from the Twister soundtrack?
Oh, hell yeah!
Mhm.
Oh, there's a song on that soundtrack called "The Wind," "Respect the Wind" or something like that. That's just
that.
all it is it's Eddie and Alex, and oh my gosh, gorgeous instrumental that Eddie did on that. Love that
I'll have to
soundtrack.
find that because I never owned the soundtrack. I only ever saw it on MTV.
Oh yeah,
So that's a killer ass song. But yeah, I've learned. I didn't learn like the big crazy 10-minute long extended solo, but there's like the one in the video. I was like, that I could do that because the only really hard part to that is like the finger tapping.
yeah.
But dude, the finger tapping in in Jump. Hold on, let me see if I can get a little bit in the microphone. This shit sucks. Just those little guys right there. That's hard, Eddie. That's very hard. Thank you very much. That's very hard.
Yeah, your brother, speaking of great guitar players, Micah, still
Screw
leaves
him.
me absolutely gobsmacked every time he does Eruption. I mean,
Dude,
just wow.
I was telling this story at a party that Micah held a couple nights ago for some friends of ours. So I sat and listened to that son of a bitch learn Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix off the vinyl. So every time, like at our childhood home, there's like the living room downstairs, but then it just kind of goes to the upstairs and there's just basically like a balcony.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the record player up there. So I'm sitting downstairs playing Pokemon on my Game Boy. And I can hear the dude like, and he's like, okay, cool. Pulls it back. And I listened to him pull the damn needle back like the greats used to do and just pull the needle back and play that thing just painstakingly bit by bit and figuring out those licks for like an entire day.
Mm-hmm.
And and then I listened to him do that with everything. I would sit there and listen to him back in his bedroom pulling back the solo to Walk by Pantera, just this nutty shit. And these days you can look on YouTube and you can slow down the speed and all that stuff, dude. He just back in the day you had to just pull it back. Even with the CD player, it's like you just had to pull it back and listen to it at full speed and try to figure that stuff out. But dude, I've always had the pleasure of being able to play with somebody that just knocks it out of the park. And yeah, I don't know a lot of guitar players better than him.
That's one thing I have to say, just to kind of tie this all back into Hitchhiker is, I've played in a lot of bands over the, last 35 years or so, and the level of talent, the sheer talent that we have in Hitchhiker is humbling to me. I could not be more proud to be sharing the stage with with you, Caleb, and with Micah, and with John, and with Jay, and with Travis. I mean, it's I guess where I first knew that we were onto something special was that first rehearsal that we had in Alabama last year, and we started playing Man in the Box.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, I literally, it's never happened to me in all the years that I've been performing music where it's like we all instinctively just willed it into happening. And it did. And it happened. I mean, it's, again, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. The way that we all coalesced and came together without ever having played together. Now, obviously, we weren't perfect, but just oh my gosh, I mean, it just blows my mind. Still, when we were there at performing at Phenomicon last year, I still could not believe that standing just a few inches off to my right was, as Travis would say, Jay motherfucking Stratton, you know, playing that gorgeous GNL Strat of his, and then next to him was Dr. Travis Taylor, and then I mean, it was there was no other experience that I've ever had performing live that has come close to that. And I think this year is going to be even more special because this year we're more familiar with each other. We're playing songs that I think the audience is really going to enjoy because we're going to be playing, I think, something like 9 or 10 new songs that we didn't play last year, plus the 2 originals that are brand spanking new that nobody's ever heard before. And so that for me, I mean, seriously, just being able to be on stage with all 5 of you, it's humbling for me. I mean,
we're raw dogging it without a rehearsal this year.
Yeah. We're
That's
going
to be exciting.
I think it's going to be great, though, honestly, man, because I like this kind of backup and punt mentality. I mean, like, you know,
rock and roll, man.
Ron, you're in Colorado. Jimm, you're in Utah. I'm in North Carolina. The rest of the band is spread out all over the U.S. And it's like, yeah, it ain't exactly the easiest thing for us to jump on a band practice.
Correct.
But here's the cool thing is when we recorded, when Travis was recording the vocals for Tether, all of us were there in that session via Zoom as it was happening live.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
How fucking cool was that? I mean, I was seriously like, holy shit, this is going to work.
Dude, I mean, I would never be able, I mean, yeah, maybe if, I don't know, but that's a pretty vulnerable thing to have all of your buddies sitting there with headphones listening to your ass sing. That is tough. Like when I'm recording my own stuff, dude, I am so like, I don't want anybody listening to me recording. I don't want somebody in a room. I don't want somebody in three rooms down from me in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't want you guys to hear how bad this shit is. You know how much I have to tool this up to make it sound worth the shit.
Well, the thing is so many people don't realize that the act of recording is a very tedious and laborious process. Even when you have the technology that we have at our fingertips, Caleb, you still have to have the right mentality and the frame of mind to commit yourself to really, doing it until you get it right. And the technology can fix a lot of that shit. But in the old days, I mean, I'm one of those guys that still will spend half an hour just getting the right EQ on the hi-hat and the snare.
That's why your shit sounds good. I mean, dude, like, I don't love tracking. I've never loved tracking.
See, and that's what I love the most is tracking. Well,
wow,
okay, I like that, and I like mixing the most. That's truly my favorite is mixing.
Well, see, the mixing's my favorite part. I fucking hate tracking. I mean, it's like oh, I gotta try to nail this piece.
Tracking is insanely tedious.
It's so tedious.
If you're doing it like a pro, it can be incredibly tedious.
I think that's what leads.
It sure is. Let me tell you, I know.
That's what leads.
I was like, Roger's sitting here looking at it like, and these guys shut the fuck up.
Roger, you've been there. You've been in a recording session with me when we did the
I
recording for
know.
when we did the cover for Twilight Zone, Golden Earrings Twilight Zone. You were there. Your voice is still on that recording,
Still on
brother.
it, yep.
Did you
So
sing, Roger?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Can you sing?
I can, yes.
You beautiful son of a bitch. I
But
knew
he's
you
an
had the
he's an
magic.
even better dancer though. Roger's true talent is in his dance moves.
That doesn't surprise me in the least.
He's got that pelvic thrust that the ladies just
That's why he needs the heart surgery. He can't do it right
right.
now,
That's
but
right.
get that fixed and he's gonna be back out on the
Yeah, I
dance
need to
floor
get in a little better
breaking
shape.
hearts.
Yeah.
Right.
Roger's got a pelvic thrust that turns any lady into one of those catfish that hang on the side of your fishbowl.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Oh, we are gonna have so much fun at Phenomicon this year, y'all. I mean, I can't wait for the after party. See,
Dude,
I'm surprised we didn't get arrested, get the cops called on us last year
Well,
when we went from the bar was great when we hung out. We were all hanging out at the bar. That was amazing. But then when Travis is like, "Come on over, we're gonna go to the after party," and we get there and it's like Travis just did not have the ability to lower his
no.
voice.
literally went until 6
Travis
o'clock in the
and
morning.
Caleb.
Yeah,
John.
yeah. And I remember Travis going, "I love you, motherfucker. You're my kid, man."
Drunk Travis is the best.
Well, dude, so like even at that point, Travis didn't know me that well. You know, as far as Travis knew, I was just the drummer guy. Because you know, I'll crack jokes and all that stuff, but I don't want to like step on anybody's toes. But after the show, I'm like, dude, you know, we're literally monkey fisting a bottle of Jack Daniels. I'm not gonna hold back. But I remember that night just being like looking into Travis's eyes and being like, brother, tonight we had an opportunity to make a lot of people happy. And I felt like up there on stage tonight, we were the Oak Ridge Boys. And dude, Travis just immediately just like loses it. And that's when he like puts his, you know, giant arm around my neck and just like, I love this son of a bitch right here. So that's like, I think that was the moment that Travis started to realize, oh, he's not just the drummer.
Yep.
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 Dude, Roger, I don't know what it was about you, but we're like standing backstage and I just like, I saw your Lord of the Rings tattoo and I'm like, oh, this guy's he's a silent motherfucker. He's a
Yep.
real dude. He's a real son of a bitch. I was like, number one, is that elf? That Elvin? All right, we're friends. Dude, we hit it off like immediately.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even really realize like how associated with Jimm you were. I was just like, this guy's got an elf tattoo. This guy's a cool motherfucker. I'm into it.
Hey,
And then you're like, I was also on the credits of Diablo 3. I'm like, get out of my house. We're not even in my house. Get out of my house.
Yep, I'm still there.
Couldn't even believe that, dude. You're a legend.
Yeah, no, we hit it. I mean, it was great. It was just sitting
so
back, talking about games and stuff. It's great.
and Roger and I are also huge Marvel comics and MCU fans. We're huge Marvel fans, Roger
Dude.
and I. So
Has anybody not seen the Fantastic Four here?
oh gosh, I'm sorry, I loved it. I thought it was great.
You ain't gotta apologize for shit. I love the fuck out of that movie.
Galactus was the biggest fucking payoff in Marvel cinematic history. That was like
no spoilers. I loved how artfully. Not every movie has to be the most incredible, explosive piece of shit you've ever. It was artfully done. They had moments. It was chill. They made this in like very intense.
It was
I like the female Silver Surfer. She's in the fucking. What do you guys want?
The way that I described it to my wife, who still hasn't seen the Fantastic Four, is I said the Superman movie was more like a traditional Marvel movie, and the Fantastic Four was more like a DC movie because it was darker and more serious in tone. Whereas I was expecting the Fantastic Four to be, you know, this action filled, you know, like you were just saying, Caleb, and it wasn't that at all. And that's part of the reason why I liked it, because it's not the movie that we got, and I am so okay with it. I was pissed when I first heard that they weren't doing Norrin Rad as the Silver Surfer.
Oh,
and by the time the first 5 minutes of her screen time passed, I'm like, yeah, she's the Surfer. Yep.
Yeah. No,
it works. It works.
Look, honestly, we got a Norrin Rad that was pretty fucking good in the OG before the MCU Marvel movies.
Doug
That was
Jones,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, the guy that played the guy in Hellboy, the fish man, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yep.
Dude, I loved those movies. Chris Evans was so good
He
as
was the best Human Torch. Oh my God.
he was fantastic. And like I like the guy from Stranger Things. That was great. But look, you know why I love Chris Evans? It ain't because of Captain America. It's because not another teen movie with Randy Quaid. That is one of the funniest damn things. That is one of those underrated, dude. This line alone. All right, here we go. Randy Quaid's talking to his daughter in that movie. He goes, and honey, you're probably gonna need somebody to come pick you up from school today. And she goes, oh, are you gonna be too drunk to drive? He's like, nah, I'll be driving. I'm just gonna be too fucked up to remember to pick you up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Randy Quaid, dude. What a legend.
That's why I'm so looking forward to Avengers Doomsday, because apparently they're bringing everybody back and they're playing alternate versions of who they were, just like Wolverine versus Deadpool. I don't know if you saw that. Oh my gosh. The payoff moment in that with Chris Evans was like, that alone was worth the price of admission for me.
Dude, there's been so many there's so many people out there like, the multiverse is overplayed. And I'm like, that's okay. If that's not your cup of tea, I get it. I understand people wanting some, just like a singular timeline. The
Mhm.
thing that I enjoy, and people like, fan service is bad. And I'm like, well, what do you want them to not serve the fans?
Right.
Like, for me, it's like, I don't even give a flying fuck about a cohesive story at this point because at this point, it's not very often that you get those.
Right.
It's not very often that you get those, and they're not just cliche as shit. Is what I'm saying essentially.
Mhm. Yep.
It's hard. It's hard to find something that's new and fun and actually exciting that we haven't seen. Look, I don't have a problem with them being like, okay, yeah, and sorry if this is if this is a spoiler, but we've seen a Reed Richards in the MCU that wasn't Pedro Pascal. And I
Right.
really liked that because it was like, dude, it's just cool to see it for a
Yeah.
second. It's
Yep.
just cool to see it
Yeah.
for a second.
Yeah. Right.
But people, it's the fucking internet, and they'll complain about anything. Like, just go look at the comments on
Absolutely.
the Ghost in the Mountains podcast. Like, go fuck yourself. You're gonna listen to our entire pod. I mean, thanks for listening, but you're gonna listen to the entire podcast just so you can be a dick.
Mhm.
I find it really funny, frankly, because I'm like the same person that has nothing better to do than post a negative comment about a podcast on YouTube.
Mhm.
Well, their best friend is probably Pamela Henderson. So
Absolutely. Yeah, Raj and I are big MCU fans, and
the shit, man.
yeah, it's to just get a well, we can talk about that. Star Wars. I mean, I'm yeah,
Oh,
that's
sweet. You guys want to talk shit about The Last Jedi? Let's go.
Oh,
oh gosh, don't even get me started on Last Jedi.
I am still pissed off
You
that
have
I
a
Lay,
book.
paid money
okay,
to see that shit.
where it lost me seriously, where I was like, okay, fuck this, I'm done, was Leia's Mary Poppins moment in space. It's like, when did that become a force power?
You know a line that really got to me? It's a very short line. But Admiral Holdo, she goes, Godspeed, you rebels. And I'm like, I don't think they believe in God in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Force. I've never heard. Well, there's two things. It's called a fucking lightsaber. Number one, it's not called a laser sword. And then secondarily, I don't know. I don't know. There's a ton of things, and there's a ton of things in that movie. And it's not that I'm like, I'm a sexist and I don't like Ray. No, I thought that Ray was honestly really cool. I loved The Force Awakens.
I loved Ray. I thought she was really
Awakening
good. Yeah.
I loved her too. Thought she was great. But the storytelling's dog shit. And you're fucking telling me with all the extended universe novels that they had that they just threw out the window when Disney bought the thing that they could not think of another single bad guy to bring into the franchise, that they had to bring back fucking Palpatine?
What pissed me
Oh,
off
so
was
lazy.
the way
So lazy.
they did Luke Skywalker, turned
Oh,
him
yeah.
into a
Started.
whiny, self-doubting little bitch.
Look, here's the thing.
This is the same
And
guy that blew up the Death Star.
Making slapstick comedy out of it when he just kind of like, they finished The Force Awakens with her handing him or holding out the lightsaber.
And that
so
shit was epic
you're
as fuck.
building up that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is major. And then they turn it into fucking slapstick where he just tosses it over his shoulder and walks away.
Dude, man.
I knew it was going to suck right then.
Well, listen to the shit that Mark Hamill said about that.
He knew it.
Yeah, he was
Mark
pissed.
Hamill was fucking. There's video footage of him breaking down in tears during the filming of The Last Jedi because he's like, "You guys have fucked this shit up." Dude, that scene at the end of The Force Awakens when Rey extends this lightsaber to him in a very emotional way, and he looks at her knowing whatever the fuck they didn't know and whatever the fuck they didn't plan for those series. But you can tell in his face when he sees her with the lightsaber, he's like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
Like, there's some serious emotion to that scene. And I was so just like, dude, like that first movie, they could have gone if they wild concept, guys, before you start a trilogy, know where
Put it all together.
Know where
Exactly.
it's going.
What I heard, who made the first one? The Force
J.J.
Awakens.
Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
What I heard was he had a list of notes for where he was thinking the story would go.
And Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Watts' ass.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson threw that
Ryan
out.
It's just
Johnson.
like, screw all this. That makes too much sense. I'm going to subvert expectations.
That
And
shit right there.
It's a total shit
Well,
show.
And the other thing that I remember reading was that for the last one, the Skywalker one, Rise of Skywalker, that the very end when, spoiler folks, sorry if you haven't seen it, but when we hear all the Jedi's voices, I heard that they actually filmed having those actors there, that Liam Neeson and Samuel L. Jackson and Hayden Christensen had all actually filmed to where they were supposed to appear on camera. Do you know how much more that one single thing would have done to actually have been able to see all those old Jedi showing up on screen? But no, we had to hear their voices. And unless you're watching it with subtitles, you can't always make out which old Jedi that's dead is speaking. Right?
I think that if it were done right, that probably could have made sense. But part of me is just like, I think that Rey would have seen Qui-Gon Jinn and be like, "Who the fuck are you, mate?" Like, who the fuck is Samuel L. Jackson? Like, who are these guys? Why are they talking to me? Am I schizophrenic?
Yeah.
I mean,
I wouldn't know about that scene anyway because I did not watch that last piece of shit movie because of the previous piece of shit movie made me just like not care at all.
So you were one of the rage quits. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I hate it.
I can't blame you, dude.
So
I can't blame you.
It was so stupid. I was like, there's no way you could rescue that.
They need to just retcon that whole thing and do it justice.
Well, they could, and Dave Filoni could do it because
I agree.
Well, they set up the whole fucking thing for it in Star Wars Rebels. They essentially have this time loop bullshit that they can go into that Ahsoka is tied to. Hey, y'all, check this shit. It's probably just a rumor, but if it's a rumor, goddamn, I hope it's true. Check this. Did you guys ever see or play the video games? And I'm pointing at you, Roger. The Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed. Oh yeah.
With Sam Witwer as Star Killer, which was the original name for Luke Skywalker, was Luke Star Killer.
Yep.
The big old rumor around town, and you probably already know it, is that they're actually, and I don't see why they wouldn't, because Sam Witwer's a motherfucking badass. He is one of the most knowledgeable Star Wars nerds on the planet. If you ever watch him in a knowledge battle with John Campea, and he's just over there doing Jedi mind tricks with the trivia, dude. They're talking about, or the rumor on the street is that he's actually going to live action play Star Killer. They ought to.
I've heard
that
the
would
same
be amazing.
thing. I've heard the same thing.
It's supposed to happen in Ahsoka season 2. So if that fucking really happens, dude.
So let's go. Let's go there. How did you guys like, first of all, Ahsoka, and then the one that's the most controversial, the Acolyte? What did you guys think of those?
I wish I could tell you what I thought of the Acolyte, but I only got through an episode and a half.
Dude, some of the best lightsaber battles we've ever seen were in the Acolyte.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. Wasn't there a Wookiee Jedi in it?
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. The one that I couldn't get into for the same reason that you're talking about, Caleb, was Andor. I watched the
Oh,
first.
you need to finish it. Andor is
great.
Everybody keeps telling me that because I'm still with season 1. I watched the first 4 episodes and I'm like, this is going nowhere. And I was
it
just like,
goes somewhere. You just keep watching.
and that's what everybody tells me. It's like at about the 5th or 6th episode, and then it just doesn't let up. And I'm like, gosh, but it's so damn slow.
It's very slow. I thought that season 2 was even slower than season 1, frankly, but I really did, and I'm still making my way through season 2 of Andor. Dude, I thought The Mandalorian was fantastic.
I agree.
Oh yeah.
I would love to see Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, if they could have done Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, I think Star Wars would have been taken to heights that it's never seen before.
Well, I think at very least Disney would have had a fucking return on investment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, well, the thing about it is even though those movies were so fucking divisive, I guess they kind of did at least make a lot of money because the first one people were into seeing, the second one people paid for because they didn't know what they were in for, and the third one they wanted to see if were going to fix up all the holes the second one made.
Right.
Yep. I don't know what the numbers were on it, but I bet all 3 of them made a shit ton of money. And so the studio looked at that and they're like, I don't know. There's a lot of people talking shit on the internet, but that's the internet. But the movie still made money, so we'll keep Kathleen Kennedy around.
You know what was brilliant, and I think was Rogue One. I think Rogue One is one of the best Star Wars movies, period. I think that's one of my top 3 favorite Star Wars of all time is Rogue One. They did
that ending scene.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Darth Vader, that actually showed Darth Vader being Darth Vader.
We got to see the badass Darth Vader we've always heard of.
That was pretty wild.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still gonna go with the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh, that stuff's amazing.
If you guys don't think that Lumper-a-Wump is one of the best characters in the Star Wars universe, then you can go fuck yourself.
What about the grandfather watching the porn? Basically, right?
Yeah, he's a creep. And he's sitting there like, fuck you, Lumper-a-Wump. I hate children. And Lumper-a-Wump's like, I'm just trying to enjoy Life Day, you ass.
Right? I'm telling you, I remember watching that when it came out because, I was like, 7 or 8 years old when it came out.
Like, drugs are bad.
And it was like, this is the coolest thing of all time. And I found it on YouTube like years ago. And I'm like, why did I think this was actually good?
Dude, do you see how zooted Carrie Fisher was?
Very controversial show.
It is bad.
Carrie Fisher is visibly on drugs in that.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just go back. Watch the ending scene where it's like Han and Leia and Luke all standing there. And she's like, hey guys, what's going on? It's fucking nuts, dude. But, she had her demons. R.I.P. Princess Leia, man. She was great, though. I loved her.
Oh, gosh.
You know what's so fun? Yeah. Anyway,
I had such a thing for Princess Leia when I was a youngster.
Yeah, who didn't? Especially after that thing with her in the bikini from
the Slave Girl. Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, yeah.
But the beach photo shoot, that's all I'm saying.
Ooh,
remember that one? She's like she's on the beach in the slave Leia costume. That's why we're all perverts now.
I don't remember that, but we do have the internet. I'll be right back.
So, John needs a moment, folks.
Yeah, give you a moment here.
John, just turn your camera off.
Right.
So my oldest son, back in 2007, we go out to LA for Star Wars Celebration 4, I think it was, and we're going up in between. We just gotten our picture taken with Jeremy Bulloch, who was the original Boba Fett. And, so we're riding this escalator to go up to the upper level of the LA Convention Center, and as we're going up, there's a bunch of there's like a massive gathering of Leia Slave Girl cosplayers, all body shapes and sizes. Okay, and so they're coming down the escalator as we're going up, and my son innocently just turns to me and says, "Daddy, none of those ladies are wearing underwear." And of course, he said it loud enough so that anybody with an earshot could hear it. And instantly, you heard like 5 guys going, "Rumor confirmed." it's like, oh man, one of those moments where it's like, kids say the darndest things.
Oh man.
I like beach balls.
Yep. They're great. Well, guys,
Yes, yes,
we've
indeed.
run the gamut tonight.
We sure
Yeah,
have.
We
we have.
probably
So,
should.
so thank you so much, folks. Those of you that are still tuned in and watching, thank you for listening to the madness, mayhem, and chaos that is Mr. Caleb Hanks. We love very, very much. And again, folks, check out Caleb's website for his podcast. Again, that's Ghosts in the Mountains. That is ghosts, plural, in the mountains.com. And we'll have the link for the website as well as the YouTube channel right here in the description for this podcast episode. And for those of you that are going to Phenomicon, we're going to be seeing you in just a little less than 2 weeks.
Weeks.
In fact, 2 weeks from today, we're going to be playing on stage at
Performing.
Phenomicon at about this time. So it's
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's
we
going to
will
be
be
awesome.
taking the stage right now.
Yes,
That is
indeed.
nuts.
2 weeks
So-
from this moment.
So let's just go quickly around the room. Final closing thoughts and remarks, and then we'll put this one to bed. So Roger, we'll start with you.
Hey, it was great seeing you guys tonight and all the fun discussions that we've had. And yeah, super, super appreciative, Caleb. It's great to actually finally be on the podcast with you and talk about all the great stuff that you're doing. So yeah, can't wait to see all of you guys in less than 2 weeks here and catch up in person. And yeah, but no, this has been great, and I hope everyone's enjoyed this episode. It's been a lot of fun putting this together. So hope everyone stays safe, and we'll see you soon.
Right on, John. How about you, buddy?
Oh man, I can't wait. 2 weeks. Can't wait to give that Don Wafer a big manly hug.
Wait, we're the Wafer Brothers? This is an inside joke with me and Ron Wafer. I'm Don Wafer. We'll
And
talk
Micah
about
is
it.
also
Micah's also Don Wafer. It's weird.
Well, that would make me Nilla Wafer.
You could be Nilla Wafer. I was thinking, yeah. I had another one, but I forgot it. But Nilla works.
Oh, I think we broke John.
No, it's kind of like a boy named Sue, but your real name is Camilla.
Right. Yes. Well, spank my ass and call me Susan. Yes. All righty. And Caleb, any closing thoughts or remarks from you?
Man, so many. I have had so much fun on this podcast. You guys, just anytime that we're hanging out, I know we're going to have a good time. You guys are so knowledgeable. We can literally talk about anything. It could go on forever. It's kind of one of those moments where I just want to be in the hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball Z, where it's just like, yeah, years can go by, but we can just keep chilling and talking. But it's been such a wonderful time getting to know you guys, getting to play music with you guys, finding out that Roger is just a magic man who has been on the frickin' credits for Diablo 3. We're going to do a Storm Area 51 style thing where we Nataro run into the Blizzard headquarters and we make them just be like, guys, it'll take you 25 minutes. Just make controller support for PC for the love of Christ. But that being said, man, 2 weeks. I cannot even believe that. It is going to be wild. And hey, here we come. Phenomicon, round 2, baby. The Hitchhiker effect is coming to you. So looking forward to it and can't wait to see you guys.
Yes, indeed. And we'll talk about once we wrap up the recording here. I'll just chat with you real quickly about some logistical stuff here that we're planning for when we all get together there in Vernal. But want to extend, fog machine for sure. We want to obviously thank you, Caleb, for giving us so much of your time this evening. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, and we love the spirit that you bring into here, and we always have such a good time. Apologies again to all those for the coarse language.
but go fuck yourself if you don't like it.
As we say, that's indeed. So thank you, folks. If you liked what you heard, and even if you didn't, hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't subscribed yet to the Soul of the Unexplained. Make sure you also subscribe to the Ghosts in the Mountains podcast with Caleb and Mr. Burgess there, your buddy Alex. And we can't wait to have you on again sometime. Next time, hopefully with your brother Micah, because I have a feeling that shit will really go sideways if we can ever get Micah on here. And then if we can get Micah, who knows? Maybe we can get Travis as well, and we'll just create more legends as we go along. But thank you everybody for tuning in. Roger and I will see you actually in less than 2 weeks, because we're going to be in Vernal starting on the 2nd of September, and we're going to be doing constant videos that we're going to upload here to our YouTube channel. We're going to live stream a couple times, especially with Jeff Freeman not coming this year. We're going to try to pick up some of the space there that Jeff would normally be doing for all of our fellow Skinwalker Ranch insiders and for the Soul of the Unexplained subscribers as well. So Roger and I will see y'all in probably, let's see. Today is the 23rd, so what does that make it, Roger? About 10 or 11 days is when we'll finally be in Vernal. But seriously, folks, we appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in today, and we will certainly see you next time here on the Soul of the Unexplained. So again, folks, love one another, take care of one another, be nice to bunnies, don't do cocaine because, well, just don't do it. Trust me.
It's too fun.
And it comes with far too many downsides. But you know what you can do a lot of? Tacos.
DMT. Flying tacos.
You can't.
That's what I meant. I totally meant tacos.
All right, guys. The Soul of the Unexplained, straight from the K-hole.
And we're going to end it right there, folks. So we will see you next time right here on the Soul of the Unexplained. See ya.